Chapter 1192. To be honest, Ling Ying had already gotten used to Lin Xian's fickleness. She had also accepted Lin Xian's fickleness. At the very least, Lin Xian's fickleness was only with relatively decent girls. However, she didn't know what to do. Were they going to live together in the future? Actually, it wasn't impossible. If Lin Xian had absolute power and influence, he would have been able to resolve all of this without even attacking. Forget it. Let's not think about this anymore. The girls finished washing up and walked over, looking at the busy Lin Xian in the kitchen. Why is he so enthusiastic? Han Chushua asked. Although Lin Xian often cooked for them, wasn't this too enthusiastic? Ling Ying smiled. He's guilty. There were no secrets between her and Han Chushua. After all, the two of them had done it with Lin Xian. Although Han Chushua didn't know the specific reason, she could roughly guess. Xiao Xinhua walked out of the room. It hurt. She really wanted to find a wood attribute martial artist to heal her. A water attribute martial artist was also fine. Wang Xintong could heal her. But how could she ask for such a thing? She glanced at Lin Xian, who was busy in the kitchen, and felt all kinds of emotions. There was anger. After all, this was too infuriating. Of course, there was also shyness. After all, she had a good impression of Lin Xian. She just didn't know if this Lin Xian was doing it on purpose or not. Wow! Lin Xian, what delicious duck are you making now? Lan Xingxing saw Lin Xian in the kitchen after washing up, and hurriedly ran over. Mincemeat patties. Wah wah wah. I'm so happy. Wu Yuhan yawned and combed her hair. It was obvious that she was now the older sister Wu Yuhan. This could be seen from her movements. Let me help. Wang Xintong walked over. Okay, help me knead the dough. Morong Yu also went over with interest. Mincemeat patties. She had never eaten it before. Soon the meat pancakes were cooked one after another. There were also lettuce, grilled sausages and shredded cucumbers. They took them one by one. Why don't you open a gourmet shop? Wu Yuhan took a bite and asked with a smirk. It was very delicious. The crispy meat, grilled sausages and some sauce were mixed together. It was a simple taste, but it was really good. What a joke. Why don't I make money? Do you have to open a restaurant? Lin Xian roasted the meat patties one by one and placed them on the table. The star baby had already dealt with one and hurriedly reached out to grab another. Woo woo woo, it was too touching. She had to marry a man like Lin Xian in the future. She felt that she would die of happiness. Aw, how blissful. I just don't know if Lin Xian has a girlfriend. There are so many beautiful girls around him, but I haven't heard of any of them being his girlfriend. Should I ask? Thinking of this, Lan Xingxing's little face quickly turned red. Forget it, don't think about it anymore. Eating good food is the most important thing. After eating, they left together to participate in the martial arts competition. 3 days later, it was originally estimated that they could finish in 4 days. But there were too many people after all. Even if they fought until 10 p.m., they still needed 5 days. Everyone had advanced, and Lin Xian's strength had basically been revealed. Of course, it was only on the surface, including his cultivation level, which was 6 stars of the domain realm. This was very puzzling. Why was this Lin Xian only at 6 stars of the domain realm? Didn't he and Morong Yu go out to do missions in the past half a year? Logically speaking, if he had been doing missions, he should have improved faster than them. Why was he only at 6 stars? Moreover, Morong Yu also encountered a very powerful 10 stars domain realm cultivator midway. She also unleashed all of her cultivation level, which was 8 stars of the domain realm. It was very strange. Everyone was very strange. Morong Yu was at 8 stars of the domain realm previously, right? Why was she still at 8 stars of the domain realm after half a year? Although her individual strength was very strong, and she didn't use too much strength to defeat a 10 stars domain realm cultivator, why didn't she improve at all in the past half a year? Logically speaking, Morong Yu should have reached the heavenly venerable realm. What had the two of them been doing in the past half a year? The competition for the top 40 from 79 had just ended. Next was the competition for the top 40. Everyone's luck could be considered quite good. They hadn't met the strongest opponents yet, which was people like Duan Lingxiao and Zhuge Feng. Although they had met several 9 stars and 10 stars domain realm cultivators, they had all won. Only that girl Lan Xingxing couldn't hold on and was eliminated. However, she didn't care. Good. Now it's the competition for the top 40. The 40 people who advanced might not necessarily be the strongest 40 people, because some of them might have encountered a stronger opponent and been eliminated because of their luck. However, since they were able to make it to the top 40, it basically meant that their strength was top-notch even in the Martial God Academy. Next is the competition for the top 40 to advance to the top 20. From the next round onwards, the competition grounds will no longer be divided into 4. They will be gathered into 1 again, and will be carried out one by one. Let me see your true strength, Luo Xiaodao said. Then the big screen started rolling. Lin Xian versus Ji Xiaoxue. There was no need to say much about Lin Xian. This Ji Xiaoxue was also a very powerful girl in the martial arts academy. She was very beautiful. Although she might not be as beautiful as Ling Ying and the others, she was definitely a beauty. There were also many suitors. She was a 9 stars domain realm cultivator. The fact that she could make it to the top 40 already showed how powerful she was. Lin Xian and Ji Xiaoxue stepped onto the competition grounds. Please enlighten me. Ji Xiaoxue clasped her fists toward Lin Xian. Please enlighten me. Lin Xian cracked his neck. When the competition reached this level, no one was simple. Of course, Lin Xian felt that he should have no problem facing this Ji Xiaoxue. Then Ji Xiaoxue took a step forward, and the entire competition grounds entered a world of ice and snow. This is Ji Xiaoxue's frost domain. In the domain, her ice attribute power will increase. At the same time, the temperature will drop sharply. For the opponent, the sudden drop in temperature will cause their body to stiffen and their moves to slow down. In a battle between top warriors, this is very fatal. One is a 9 star and the other is a 6 star. Logically speaking, Lin Xian shouldn't be her opponent. The effect of the space attribute on a warrior, who is 3 stars higher, is a little small. I want to see if this Lin Xian can still win. Directly releasing the domain was enough to show that in this Ji Xiaoxue's eyes, Lin Xian was extremely important. Lin Xian shrugged. Normally speaking, this domain would have a lot of restrictions on him. However, don't forget that Lin Xian also had the ice attribute. Therefore, this kind of cold did not have much effect on Lin Xian, who also had the ice attribute. Whoosh, the two moved at the same time. Ji Xiaoxue directly gathered a powerful force in her right fist and punched toward Lin Xian. Attribute exchange. Law of creation. Lin Xian did not want to waste too much time. He directly buffed and then punched out. Bang, everyone. Chapter 1193. Everyone was dumbfounded as they looked at the scene in front of them. What was going on? Ji Xiaoxue was directly crushed by Lin Xian's punch and instantly retreated. Lin Xian's spatial attribute appeared in front of her. She didn't even have time to release a powerful martial technique before Lin Xian kicked her out of the stage. She lost. This scene was unexpected to everyone. What's going on? How did this happen? Isn't this Lin Xian a little too powerful? No. The strength of a 6-star domain realm can crush a 9-star domain realm? This is ridiculous. Even if this Ji Xiaoxue isn't a strength-type martial artist, she shouldn't be crushed by a 6-star domain realm martial artist, right? No, this is too strange. It's not that this Ji Xiaoxue is too weak, but this Lin Xian's strength has completely exceeded the strength of a normal 6-star domain realm martial artist. How did he cultivate? Everyone below frowned. Under normal circumstances, Lin Xian's strength and attributes were much higher than ordinary martial artists. Didn't he look at who was behind him, and what he had used before? Azure Sky Rainbow Flower, 9-colored Sacred Lotus. They were all divine items that gave birth to intelligence. They had a subtle effect on Lin Xian's strength. Then, with the addition of the attribute exchange and the slight enhancement of the creation law, it was normal for his strength to crush Ji Xiaoxue. Ji Xiaoxue was very uncomfortable. Many people felt that Lin Xian wasn't that powerful apart from his spatial attribute, and was at the level of a genius. However, he shouldn't be at the level of Murongyu, Zhugafeng, or Murongyan. But she felt that he was definitely not. He must be very powerful. So Ji Xiaoxue directly released her domain. However, she had still been careless. She had thought that Lin Xian had the spatial attribute and could instantly appear in front of her in close combat, so she had directly rushed over. However, Lin Xian was much stronger than she had imagined. She couldn't block his power at all. If she had known earlier, she would have directly released a heaven-ranked ice attribute martial skill. She had been too careless. Lin Xian was much stronger than she had imagined. Lin Xian walked down. Those who didn't want to look down on Lin Xian started to pay more attention to Lin Xian. Is this what he obtained in the past 6 months? Xiao Yin frowned. Even though Zhang Xian's cultivation didn't rise, he could sense that Zhang Xian's other aspects had undergone a qualitative change, allowing him to surpass ordinary cultivators of the same cultivation realm by too much. As a 6-star Grand Dominion realm cultivator, Zhang Xian knew that it would be difficult for him to suppress a 9-star Grand Dominion realm genius. One match after another followed. Murong Yu also dealt with her opponent in a crushing manner. Murong Yu's crushing was normal in everyone's eyes. However, they felt that Lin Xian's was even more exaggerated. Lingying versus Han Chuxue. There was no other way. This competition was random, so it was very easy for one to meet another. Lingying was unfortunate enough to meet Han Chuxue. The two top beauties on stage immediately attracted a burst of cheers. Their beauty was indeed recognized. Are we going to fight or not? Lingying asked. Han Chuxue said, fight. Good. We haven't had a real fight in a long time. Then, let's take advantage of this opportunity to have a good fight. Following that, Han Chuxue and Lingying's delicate bodies erupted with powerful strength at the same time. Of the two, one had a top-notch wind and dark attribute, while the other had a wind and ice attribute. In terms of attribute, their domains and laws were evenly matched. To be honest, Lin Xian didn't know what their domains and laws were. Perhaps it was because he didn't care about them. It was really awkward. In the next instant, the two figures moved at the same time. They had been friends for many years, and also opponents for many years. They treated each other seriously. That was a kind of respect for each other. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. The fight between the two girls was probably the most interesting fight in the past few days. They were completely evenly matched. Moreover, they were both beautiful. It didn't matter who won. They were very excited. Their strength is equally matched. It's hard to tell who's the winner. Murong Yu said beside Lin Xian. They were indeed powerful, and it was obvious that the two of them hadn't released their true strength. This was because it was easy to injure the other party if they released their true strength. Moreover, it would be a serious injury. Even their domains and laws were useless. They were purely relying on their individual strength and some basic martial skills to fight. Little Yingying's advantage lies in her dark attribute ghost. Little Chuxue's advantage lies in her ice attributes maximum range control and attack. To be honest, I can't tell who will win. Lin Xian shrugged his shoulders. If they went all out, either of them had a chance to win. After all, a top-notch martial skill could turn the situation around. However, they didn't need to go all out. They didn't care about the ranking. They cared more about the fierce fight with the other party. After another 5 minutes, the two girls pulled apart the distance between them. Fine sweat could be seen on their faces. Their breathing was rapid. They had used up too much energy. Use your laws, Lingying asked. No need. Save it for the next fight. Their domains and laws were a mystery in the martial arts academy. They had never been exposed. Then let's use the last move, Lingying said. Okay. Han Chuxue's delicate body exploded with a powerful force. Her beautiful hair danced in the wind. Ice and snow fell on the arena. The ground was quickly covered in ice. Lingying took a deep breath. He felt the terrifying cold power in his face. She was really powerful. Murong Yu praised slightly. Han Chuxue's cold power was probably one of the strongest she had seen at her age. She felt that she couldn't compare. It was normal that she couldn't compare. Han Chuxue mainly cultivated cold power. Murong Yu had 4 attributes. She might cultivate space and time, 2 top-notch attributes. Shua! Lingying's figure disappeared from his original position. What? When everyone saw this scene, they were all dumbfounded. After fighting for so long, This was the first time Ling Ying completely released his dark attribute. When the dark attribute's purity was maxed out, he could do something similar to space jumping during the day. However, no one thought that it would really happen in front of their eyes. This was the evolution that Ling Ying received from Lin Xian's attribute increasing potion. Ha! Ling Ying appeared behind Han Chuxue and kicked her. Han Chuxue's reaction was extremely fast. She turned around and punched. 3 minutes later, Ling Ying was forced to the edge of the arena by Han Chuxue. Then Ling Ying teleported and disappeared. However, Han Chuxue's skill was one level higher. The moment Ling Ying appeared, Han Chuxue had already secretly condensed her cold power to freeze her in place. Han Chuxue won. Lin Xian's face was filled with excitement. These two girls were fierce. They were really fierce. Moreover, they hadn't even used their full power. Han Chuxue removed the ice seal. Ling Ying helplessly shrugged his shoulders. Damn! I lost again. After saying this, she walked down the arena. Soon the top 40 to 20 matches were all over. Next would be the even more cruel and intense top 20 to 10 matches. It would definitely be even better. The big screen scrolled Lin Xian vs Xiao Yun. Chapter 1194. When Lin Xian saw his opponent, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up slightly. This Xiao Yun had been holding a grudge against him since that time. In fact, Lin Xian wasn't sure if he still held a grudge against him. However, during the mission to kill the Sky Venerable Realm demonic beast, Lin Xian understood that this person still held a grudge against him. Lin Xian couldn't understand. This Ling Ying wasn't your girlfriend, and it wasn't Lin Xian who snatched her away from you. She wasn't your girlfriend to begin with. It was a fair competition, but it made it seem like Lin Xian had snatched Xiao Yun's girlfriend away. Lin Xian really couldn't understand. Why were these young masters of big families so narrow-minded? Why were they acting like idiots? This Xiao Yun was like that. And that Su Jiming was also like that. They made it seem like he had snatched their girlfriends. She wasn't theirs to begin with. In fact, the reason was very simple. Each of them thought highly of themselves, and felt that the woman they had chosen was already theirs. Then someone suddenly snatched her away. How could people of their status feel good? When Xiao Yun saw that his opponent was Lin Xian, he secretly clenched his fists. Previously he had lost to Lin Xian. Moreover, he had been defeated by Lin Xian, who had crossed a large realm and defeated him, who was at the domain realm. At that time, Xiao Yun already had a domain, but he still lost. He was really unhappy that a domain realm cultivator had lost to a law realm cultivator, and in front of the Ling family. However, he had never thought that this Lin Xian was stronger than him. He also had a space. The last time he lost, it was because he was poisoned by Lin Xian. He had always thought so. He had underestimated his opponent. Otherwise, how could he have lost? And now, he knew that Lin Xian had a poison attribute, so he would be on guard. In addition, he was now a 10-star domain realm cultivator, while this Lin Xian was a 6-star domain realm cultivator. He could still suppress Lin Xian. As long as he was careful of this Lin Xian's poison attribute, he would definitely have no problems. During this period of time, he had improved a lot. He believed that there was no problem with him. Amidst the exclamations and applause, Lin Xian and Xiao Yun walked onto the stage. This battle was going to be interesting. We should be able to see Lin Xian's trump card now. Su Jiming pondered for a while. Xiao Yun was one of the top students in the martial arts academy, just like him. And this Lin Xian wasn't weak either. No matter who won or lost, it was good news for those who were paying attention to Lin Xian and Xiao Yun. At least in their eyes, Lin Xian and Xiao Yun were martial artists at the same level. The battle between them would definitely reveal a lot. On the other hand, Lin Xian's realm was lower than his, but the strength that he had displayed before was extremely exaggerated. This Lin Xian's ability to fight across realms was extremely strong, so it was really hard to say. I've met my old rival. Ling Ying crossed his arms and leaned on the stage, the corner of his mouth slightly curling up. He still remembered the battle between Lin Xian and Xiao Yun during the New Year. He had always thought that Lin Xian was much stronger than Xiao Yun. But right now, Xiao Yun's cultivation realm was 4 stars higher than Lin Xian's. And right now, Xiao Yun's cultivation realm was 4 stars higher than Lin Xian's. And right now, Xiao Yun's cultivation realm was 4 stars higher than Lin Xian's. And right now, Xiao Yun had lost to Lin Xian because of Lin Xian's poison. This time, he would definitely be more vigilant. Lin Xian and Xiao Yun faced each other. Lin Xian, you and I finally have the chance to stand on the same stage again. This time, you won't be so lucky. Xiao Yun released his aura. It can't be right, young Master Xiao? Could it be that you always thought that I lost to me last time because I was lucky? Lin Xian grinned. Hearing their conversation, everyone looked at each other. They had fought before. Moreover, Xiao Yun had lost to Lin Xian. This was interesting. Lin Xian's realm was definitely lower than Xiao Yun's, and Xiao Yun's strength was publicly acknowledged. The strongest should be Morong Yu, Duan Lingxiao and Zhuge Feng. The next level should be the cultivators who were very close to the top 10. That would be Xiao Yun, Su Jiming, Ling Ying, and Han Chuxue. However, everything was unknown. When they really fought, it was really hard to say who would win and who would lose if they were in the same realm. Whether it's luck or not, you'll know after this battle. Xiao Yun's aura surged again. He had absolute confidence in his own strength. He believed that as long as he paid attention to Lin Xian's poison attribute, everything would be under his control. To be honest, the person in front of him was indeed a bit troublesome. Lin Xian was definitely not afraid of him in the same realm. But the difference between a 6-star and 10-star domain realm was really huge. Xiao Yun was different from Ji Xiaoxue. Xiao Yun was definitely several levels stronger than Ji Xiaoxue. The most troublesome thing was Xiao Yun's domain, the dark domain. In the dark domain, all of Lin Xian's spiritual power consumption would be doubled. If this battle continued, he would definitely be at a disadvantage. Lin Xian still didn't have a domain. He could only obtain one by taking down Luo Chenxi. Although Lin Xian had already taken down Luo Chenxi, their relationship hadn't been established, so he hadn't completed the mission. However, Lin Xian felt that since he had already taken her down, wouldn't it be easy to establish their relationship? Moreover, Lin Xian definitely had more tricks up his sleeve. Although Xiao Yun's realm was so much higher than Lin Xian's, his spiritual power might not be as dense as Lin Xian's. Lin Xian's aura also surged. Whoosh! Both of them moved at the same time. Bang! In the next instant, both of them suddenly appeared in front of each other. Their speed was unimaginably fast, and their fists met. In an instant, dust flew in the arena, and the ground under their feet shattered. There was no other meaning in this punch. Both of them simply wanted to test each other's strength. After this punch, they had a rough understanding of each other's strength. Strange, Lin Xian's strength wasn't that exaggerated. Xiao Yun thought to himself. However, he had lost to Lin Xian before. Lin Xian's strength was indeed very strong. He was clear that at that time, Lin Xian was not much weaker than his domain realm when he was at rank 6 of the law realm. However, now it seemed that it was indeed a kind of amplification of strength, and not Lin Xian's own strength. Bang, bang, bang. The two of them constantly intertwined, attacking each other and dodging. Everyone watching was dazzled. Everything else aside, just the strength of these two people was enough to show that they were indeed strong. Just by looking at their battle and comparing it to others, one could tell how strong they were. The two of them had not used their attribute powers yet, and the battle had already gone on for 2 minutes. In these 2 minutes, they had probably exchanged more than 100 moves. Ling Tian Fist. Xiao Yun finally could not wait any longer. He was probably done testing Lin Xian's strength. If he did not end the battle soon, he would be 4 stars higher than Lin Xian. Even if he defeated Lin Xian in the end, others would think that he had an unfair advantage. If they were at the same realm, he would definitely not be a match for Lin Xian, so he needed to end the battle decisively. Links. Chapter 1195. Boom. Xiao Yun's fist that suddenly became stronger blasted towards Lin Xian. It was extremely fast. Lin Xian was still thinking of continuing to exchange blows with Xiao Yun when he suddenly felt a terrifying force rushing towards him. If Lin Xian's fist were to meet Lin Xian's arm would probably be injured. Seeing that this fist couldn't be stopped, don't forget about Lin Xian's attribute. Swish. In the next instant, Lin Xian disappeared from the spot, and Xiao Yun's fist hit nothing. Old Cunning Bee * starred. Lin Xian said. Xiao Yun secretly gritted his teeth. If this Lin Xian didn't have the spatial attribute, he would definitely have taken control of the situation with this move. 5 Thunder Celestial Phenomenon. Lin Xian didn't continue to dawdle with him. He roughly knew how strong this Xiao Yun was. It was true that he was very strong, but Lin Xian wasn't afraid of him at all. An Earth-class 8-star martial skill directly burst out. Xiao Yun raised his eyebrows. This was where Lin Xian's advantage lay. He had more attributes than Xiao Yun. Xiao Yun was strong and had the spatial attribute. When facing other warriors, his spatial attribute was extremely strong. However, Lin Xian also had the spatial attribute. In this case, Lin Xian had no advantage at all. In other words, his only advantage was his domain. Facing such an attack, Xiao Yun didn't dare to meet force with force. If he had a spirit weapon, it would be fine. With the help of a spirit weapon sword skill, he could meet force with force. However, he couldn't use a spirit weapon now. The 5 Thunder Celestial Phenomenon blasted over, and Xiao Yun disappeared from the spot. Boom! The entire stage let out a huge roar. This is going to be a fight. Both of them have the spatial attribute. This Lin Xian won't be able to hit Xiao Yun that easily. Yeah, and Xiao Yun's realm is higher than Lin Xian. If this drags on, Xiao Yun will definitely be stronger. I just don't know if this Lin Xian's domain and law can help him defeat Xiao Yun. This Lin Xian's domain and law have never been exposed before. 5 Thunder Celestial Phenomenon. Boom! Once again, the 5 lightning constellations bombarded Xiao Yun, but Xiao Yun disappeared again. The moment he appeared, Lin Xian opened up a space and the 5 Thunder Celestial Phenomenon appeared behind him. Xiao Yun's pupils constricted, and his figure vanished once more. Boom! The 5 lightning constellation missed again. The space attribute was indeed powerful. As long as the opponent was focused, it would be very difficult to hit him, even if Lin Xian was able to combine space and lightning. Hiss! However, this scene was extremely impressive in the eyes of others. F***ck. This Lin Xian's control over space seemed to be very strong. I've only heard that those seniors with strong spatial attributes can control space so skillfully. This is really the first time I've seen this from a junior. To be honest, it is indeed so. It should be very difficult for this Xiao Yun to accomplish this. I'm afraid that in terms of spatial control, Lin Xian will crush him. Morongyu was used to it. In that half a year, they fought every day. And she was also used to Lin Xian's spatial control being so strong. She also had a spatial attribute, and majored in spatial control. She knew that Lin Xian's control was very difficult. She could also do it, but it wouldn't be too easy. It might take another 10 to 20 years of control before she could fully use it. At least, Morongyu felt that Lin Xian's spatial control was much stronger than hers. Spatial shackle. Xiao Yun didn't believe it. If he continued like this, Lin Xian would always be in control. He wanted to win and win easily. Instead, Lin Xian had always been in control. He was unhappy. He was at the 10-star domain realm, and Lin Xian was at the 6-star domain realm. The spatial attribute he released could suppress Lin Xian, but Lin Xian's spatial ability couldn't suppress him. This was common sense in one's realm. Even though his realm was higher than Lin Xian's in that battle, he still couldn't win against Lin Xian in terms of space. However, he didn't believe this. Lin Xian was clearly much weaker than him, and he was only so old. How could he be stronger than him? Spatial blast. Boom! Lin Xian's location was directly blasted. Dust flew everywhere. Everyone was speechless. Spatial was still brainless. Lin Xian's situation wasn't good. With a difference of 4 stars, it was very difficult for him to escape from Xiao Yun's spatial seal in time. However, in the next instant, Lin Xian appeared at another location. What? Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. With a difference of 4 stars, how could he escape in an instant? This Lin Xian's spatial control can be said to be unparalleled. Those mentors and the powerhouses from the 3 major forces secretly exclaimed, "Yes, the difference isn't ordinary. His spatial control should be several times stronger than ordinary spatial martial artists of his age. I really don't know how he cultivated it. It's too magical. In fact, it was very simple. It was the system. Lin Xian didn't cultivate it much, but this cheat was too powerful. Spatial seal. Lin Xian used a spatial seal on Xiao Yun. Spatial blast. Boom! The dust dispersed, and Xiao Yun appeared at another location. However, everyone saw that the edges of his clothes were blown to pieces. Hiss! This was too exaggerated. Xiao Yun, whose realm was higher than Lin Xian, released this ability. Lin Xian was fine, but when Lin Xian released it on him, although he wasn't injured, he was attacked. In an instant, the difference between the two of them was obvious. Xiao Yun gritted his teeth. Why? Why was his realm 4 stars higher than Lin Xian? But his spatial seal couldn't seal Lin Xian. But Lin Xian's spatial seal could slightly seal him. K your mother. No. It must be resolved. Dark domain. In the next instant, Xiao Yun released the dark domain without hesitation. The entire battle arena fell into darkness, and no one could see the situation inside. Lin Xian entered the dark domain again, and was secretly speechless. Domains were really powerful. To a martial artist, the improvement was simply too great. Lin Xian, I don't believe that you can defeat me this time. Xiao Yun stared at Lin Xian, and gritted his teeth. You think you can defeat me by locking me in the dark domain? Lin Xian's lips curled. As long as your poison attribute is useless, then you're not this young master's opponent. Is that so? After continuously releasing martial techniques and spatial attributes, you shouldn't have much spiritual energy left, right? But in here, your consumption will be doubled, and your spiritual energy consumption will be much higher than mine. If a martial artist doesn't have any spiritual energy, then how much battle strength does he have? Xiao Yun said coldly. But what if I directly kill you in one move? Then there's no need to consider this, right? Lin Xian said with a smirk. Kill this young master in one move. With just you. Let's try. The current Lin Xian was much more confident than before. Xiao Yun might be powerful, but he was more powerful than Xiao Yun in terms of spatial abilities. In front of Lin Xian, Xiao Yun really didn't feel as much pressure as other martial artists of other attributes. Other attribute martial artists, such as Thunder attribute, might have terrifying destructive power and battle strength, but Xiao Yun didn't. What was the need to explain about a life of cheating? Creation law, attribute exchange, spatial seal, spatial jump. Let's end this, smelly little brother. Chapter 1196. Boom! In front of everyone's eyes, the domain of darkness was directly shattered. The moment it shattered, Xiao Yun's figure was directly sent flying and smashed outside the battle arena. Pooh! Xiao Yun spat out a mouthful of blood and crawled up with his legs trembling. Everyone. F***CK? What happened? Why did Xiao Yun lose all of a sudden? F***CK? What exactly happened? Isn't this too exaggerated? Xiao Yun is 4 stars higher than Lin Xian. How did he get blasted out? F***CK? F***CK? I didn't see what happened. Can someone give me an explanation? How the F***CK do we play this? This Lin Xian's ability to fight above his level is too terrifying, right? He isn't any weaker than Morongyu. No wonder he went on a mission with Morongyu. They might really be on the same level. Lin Xian pushed the entire competition to a climax. Because it was too exaggerated. That was Xiao Yun, not an ordinary martial artist. Furthermore, he was a 10-star domain realm cultivator, and he even released his domain. Could it be that Lin Xian's law or domain was that powerful? They didn't know either, they didn't see it at all. There was no choice, Lin Xian had too many cheats. Not to mention the creation of law, this attribute exchange that could appear out of nowhere. The strength multiplier buff was equivalent to giving others another law for free. The strength multiplier law. The strength multiplier of a 6-star domain realm cultivator was definitely equivalent to a 10-star domain realm cultivator's strength. That was multiplier. It wasn't just an addition, there was also the creation of law. Who cares what kind of domain you are? What kind of spiritual energy consumption is it? Then I won't waste any more time with you. One move, I'll end the battle without any fanciful moves. Xiaoyan was dumbfounded. What's going on? Why did this Lin Xian suddenly erupt with strength, as though he was invincible? Is that the strength of a 6-star domain realm cultivator? Are you King kidding me? Originally, he wanted to have a good fight with Lin Xian, but he realized that he didn't have the chance. Why? Xiaoyan clenched his fists. He had once again lost to Lin Xian in front of everyone. The key point was that he didn't know how he lost. He could accept that Lin Xian's strength was high, but Lin Xian's realm was 4 stars lower than his. 4 stars, 4 stars of the domain realm. Even so, Lin Xian had crushed him in one move. Xiaoyan had personally fought with Lin Xian. Although he didn't want to admit it, he understood that Lin Xian was too strong. Would he be able to defeat Lin Xian if he were to go all out against him? Xiaoyan wasn't sure, because he didn't use a spirit artifact in this competition. Him with a spirit artifact and him without a spirit artifact were two different people. Lin Xian swaggered down from the stage. Wow! Is Lin Xian that strong? Ling Ying couldn't help but exclaim. One had to know that she had fought with Xiao Yun at the Ling family's residence. She had seen the entire competition with her own eyes. Although Lin Xian had won, he had also been injured and relied on poison to win. But now, he seemed to have relied on pure strength. There was no other way. Lin Xian's current improvement was too great. When he was in the law realm, if the law of creation could do 1, he could now do 10. In the past, his strength would increase by 2 or 3 times. The law of creation would consume all of his spirit energy, but now it could increase by 8 or 9 times. This was because the law of creation increased with Lin Xian's improvement. He is indeed very strong. His cross-level combat ability is too exaggerated. Han Shushua said faintly. Yeah, I don't know why. They didn't know about Lin Xian's law of creation. The only ones who knew about Lin Xian's law of creation were Morong Yu and Linglong Shui. Lin Xian's battle prowess had truly shocked everyone present. It was just a pity that no one had been able to see exactly what had happened. As for Lin Xian, he was now being taken seriously by everyone. Previously, there might have been people who thought that he was fake, and that his strength was based on his spatial attribute. But now, anyone who thought that was the case would be an idiot. Could it be that Xiao Yun was cooperating with Lin Xian to act? Bullshit. Su Jiming gritted his teeth. F***ck. What should I do? He wanted to defeat Lin Xian to prove himself, but he didn't really want to face him. The Martial Arts Academy nodded in satisfaction. Sure enough, Lin Xian didn't disappoint them. Miss Xiao, it's not bad, right? Lin Xian grinned at Xiao Runing. Xiao Runing nodded. Not bad. You didn't embarrass our military class. Xiao Runing also secretly praised. This Lin Xian was getting stronger and stronger. Lin Xian sat next to Morong Yu. Morong Yu subconsciously moved a little to the side. Lin Xian smiled, and then moved closer to her. Morong Yu. Sigh, this woman. I don't know what she's thinking. Lin Xian was really speechless. A few girls had already done it, but this relationship wasn't confirmed. It was really difficult. The big screen was still rolling, and the matches continued one after another. Soon the 20 matches were over. The top 20 were all out. Then, I'll announce the top 20. The list isn't in order, nor is it in order. Luo Xiu said. The top 20. There was no need to doubt the strength of these 20 people. After the list was announced, most of the people were within everyone's expectations. A few people were eliminated early, but that couldn't be helped. For example, Ling Ying and Xiao Yun. It couldn't be said that they weren't strong. It was just that they were unlucky to meet someone stronger before the final battle. In the next match, Lin Xian versus Su Jiming. Lin Xian's lips curled up. As the saying goes, enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. They really did meet. Lin Xian didn't think that there was a need to kill each other. He didn't know if the other party thought the same. But, how many of Lin Xian's people didn't do it because of girls? Even that demon god Xiechui hated him, because he libing. Lin Xian felt that it was really hard to find a handsome man. Su Jiming. F***ck. He really met Lin Xian. Even with such a small chance, he still met Lin Xian? He knew that he wasn't Xiao Yun's match, because Xiao Yun was of the spatial attribute, while he was of the dark enlightening attribute. But that wasn't necessarily the case. If they were at the same level, the spatial attribute might not be so restrictive. After all, they hadn't really fought before. Su Jiming wasn't sure if he was Xiao Yun's match, but Lin Xian easily defeated Xiao Yun. This made him a little afraid. But no matter how afraid he was, how could he not go up? Lin Xian and Su Jiming walked up. These two were warriors who received a lot of attention, so they once again received intense applause and cheers. It's a pity that it's daytime now. Young Master Su's dark attribute might not be so effective, Lin Xian said with a smile. Enough. The dark attribute is different from the spatial attribute. Its restrictive effect is also different. You can beat the spatial attribute, but you can't beat my dark attribute, Su Jiming said, and a burst of power erupted. Chapter 1197. Lin Xian's shadow was nailed to the ground. That's right, this was a very practical dark attribute power, shadow fixation. Once the shadow was fixed, you wouldn't be able to move, and could only be attacked. It looked similar to Space Lock, but each had its own merits. Although this young master is a 9-star domain realm, shadow fixation is far better than Space Lock for a space attribute martial artist like you. Su Jiming's entire body was entwined with blue lightning. Thunder Spirit Heavenly Python. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Because Xiao Yun was defeated so easily by Lin Xian, Su Jiming didn't dare to be careless. He greeted Lin Xian with a 1-star heaven tier martial skill. Countless blue lightning converged into a lightning snake, covering the sky as it surged towards Lin Xian. That power was simply shocking. Directly competing with martial skills? Lin Xian's lips curled up slightly. Shadow fixation was effective against him, but Lin Xian could still use space jump to dodge. But even if he dodged, his shadow would still be fixed. But he could still break free. But competing with strength, to be honest, he had no more. Blue lightning dared to collide with his purple lightning? Did he think that a heaven tier martial skill was enough? He didn't have a heaven tier martial skill. 1-star heaven tier martial skill, Thunder Surging World. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Terrifying lightning surrounded Lin Xian's body. Exchange. Power. In an instant, the power of Thunder Surging World soared again. Su Jiming looked ahead, and his pupils constricted. It's useless. Your realm is 3 stars lower. So what if it's purple lightning? Moreover, this young master is using a 5-star heaven tier martial skill, crushing you in terms of martial skill grade. Su Jiming stared ahead. Boom! The two forces collided, and the entire arena was filled with dust. The terrifying power forced the spectators nearby to release their spirit power to resist. 2 domain realms, 2 heaven tier martial skills colliding. The power was unimaginable. Fortunately, the arena was big enough. Otherwise, the spectators nearby would have been injured. Suddenly, law of creation. Lin Xian's Thunder Surge world was created with the help of the creation law, which made it even more powerful. Lin Xian's Thunder Surge world instantly crushed Su Jiming's heaven tier martial skill. Su Jiming. Everyone. Boom. With no time to react or dodge, Su Jiming was directly bombarded down. Poof! Spitting out a mouthful of blood, Su Jiming half knelt there in a daze. Furthermore, he still had his laws and domains that he had yet to use. Yet he had lost just like that. What the hell? What the hell? What kind of F** King martial skill was this? Have you ever seen a F** King martial skill that can instantly increase one's strength after being released? Those people were dumbfounded. How is that possible? At most, the release martial technique can be extended into a second or third attack. But I've never heard of a martial technique's power suddenly exploding out of nowhere. Could this be where Lin Xian is special? Could it be that he relied on this kind of power to catch Xiao Yun and Su Jiming off guard? If that's the case, then perhaps there's nothing to be shocked about. Once the others are prepared, this kind of situation won't have much of an effect. This scene also opened the eyes of those powerhouses. They had never seen a martial skill that could instantly increase one's strength after being released. Your martial skill relied on your spirit power and attributes. After using so much, the power release was only that much. So, how could your martial skill suddenly increase in strength? This didn't conform to the conservation of energy at all. In truth, no one thought about the creation of laws. First, there were very few people who knew about the creation of laws. Second, this kind of law hadn't appeared for many, many years. Those who knew about it might have already forgotten about it. Morongyu understood the reason. Truth be told, she was quite envious. She felt that the law of creation was more practical than the law of destruction. However, as her realm increased, she added the law of creation to her battles over the next 3 months. She realized that while the law of creation was useful, the law of destruction wasn't bad either. It was just that in daily life or in battle, the law of creation was very useful for smart people who knew how to adapt. According to your wishes, you could create everything within your power, while the destruction of laws could only destroy. Lin Xian smiled, then stretched and walked down. Su Jiming clenched his fists. F***ck. Why was that? The most infuriating thing was that the laws and domains were useless. He trembled with anger. Then, Lin Xian carefully looked at the other people's battles. Just as Lin Xian expected, Duan Ling Xiao, Morong Yen Zhugafeng. There was one person who might not be as dazzling as them, but he was too low-key. He was so low-key that he wasn't even in the top 108 in the previous assessment. Lin Xian really didn't know who he was, but he really wanted to let everyone know how powerful he was. Qi Tianqing. Lin Xian realized that he was definitely in existence on the same level as Morong Yu and Duan Ling Xiao. Hey little Yu, who is this Qi Tianqing? Lin Xian elbowed Morong Yu, the young master of the Bounty Hunter Guild. No wonder. Lin Xian suddenly understood. Duan Ling Xiao was from the Enforcement Union, Qi Tianqing was from the Bounty Hunter Guild, and Morong Yu was from the temple. How amazing! Why were the children of these amazing forces so powerful? It was simple. If your force was amazing, it meant that the people who created it were very powerful. Wasn't it reasonable for their descendants to be powerful? This was the theory of bloodlines. Human bloodlines might not be as direct as Yao bloodlines, but they were still there. Especially when a person's realm was high, bloodlines would be passed down more naturally. This person is pretty low-key, Lin Xian said. Morong Yu nodded his head. That's right. He didn't even fight for a place in the top 108 during the first assessment. As a result, a lot of people don't even know of his existence. I wasn't around for half a year either. However, it's impossible to hide a powerful character. You'll be able to tell just by casually completing a few missions. Lin Xian rubbed his chin. Being so low-key was pretty good. Look at you. You're so high-profile. That's not good. Morong Yu. I'm just used to doing my best in everything I do. That's right, Morong Yu was such a person. Then can you be a very, very, very good girlfriend to me? Lin Xian grinned. Lin Xian, are you flirting with a girl again? Xiao Runing glared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian. Wow. You didn't teach this Xiao Runing a lesson 2 days ago. She's getting bolder. Fine. Lin Xian swore that he would teach her a lesson tonight. Miss Xiao, I'm discussing some details of our opponents with the class monitor. It's better for the upcoming battle, Lin Xian said. Morong Yu. Chapter 1198. Morong Yu was quite impressed by this person. He could lie without thinking, and he could even keep a straight face. He was really powerful. It couldn't be helped. Lin Xian had to be powerful. He had trained until now. Xiao Runing didn't say anything else to Lin Xian. Discuss the competition? TSK, as if I'd believe you. Such a lecherous person must have set his sights on Morong Yu long ago. How could she not understand Lin Xian, this hooligan? But it was very strange. She clearly knew that this person was a hooligan, and all girls knew to stay far away from him. She also knew that, but she still wanted to get close to him. Who could resist this? Other than Xiao Runing, who wasn't like this. Morong Yu looked at the two people fighting in the arena. She was very vexed. She was thinking about her relationship with Lin Xian. So vexing. She had never been so vexed in her life. After returning, she had sex with this Lin Xian again. The competition progressed quickly. Lin Xian mainly looked at a few people. Duan Ling Xiao, Zhuge Feng, Morong Yan, Qi Tianqing and Wu Yuhan. This Wu Yuhan was really strong. Compared to Ling Ying, Lin Xian wasn't sure who was stronger. However, some of her powers were too sharp. In terms of sharpness, Ling Ying couldn't compare to her. The top 10 were out. The top 20 battles had already made everyone's blood boil. It was really a high-quality battle. The top 10 was even more exaggerated. Wang Xintong was defeated by Duan Lingxiao helplessly. It couldn't be helped. No one could defeat Duan Lingxiao, because he was the only student who had advanced to the heavenly venerable realm. In addition, his strength was top-notch. This strength wasn't something that could be defeated by top-notch warriors. Basically, in everyone's eyes, he was already number one. Morongyu definitely couldn't defeat him. Everyone originally thought that Morongyu was the most likely person to defeat him. However, no one expected that in this half a year, Morongyu's cultivation hadn't improved at all. Lin Xian basically didn't improve either. This was very strange. What exactly did they do? Alright, I'll announce the top 10 list. The list doesn't have any order or ranking. Luo Xiu walked out and said the top 10 is Morongyu, Duan Lingxiao, Qi Tianqing, Lin Xian, Morong Yan, Qin Ming, Han Chuxue, Xiao Xinyue, Zhuge Feng, and Wu Yuhan. Lin Xian secretly praised. This year's girls were really powerful. This definitely didn't happen in the past. Now there were 4 girls out of 10. In the past, there might only be 2 girls out of 10. To be honest, if they really fought, Lin Xian didn't know who he could fight against among the other 9. Qin Ming should be able to. He was probably at the level of Xiao Yun and Su Jiming. As for Han Chuxue, he had never fought her before. However, her cold energy was really terrifying. Wu Yuhan had never fought her before. It should be very troublesome. However, Lin Xian felt that he could fight anyone. So what if it was Duan Lingxiao who was in the heavenly venerable realm? It wasn't like he had never fought a heavenly venerable realm demonic beast. He had even killed one before. It would depend on the situation. Then we will directly divide the 10 people into random groups. Please look at the big screen. The big screen quickly scrolled. Han Chuxue versus Qin Ming, Zhuge Feng versus Qi Tianqing, Lin Xian versus Morong Yan, Morongyu versus Wu Yuhan, Duan Lingxiao versus Xiao Xinyu. Everyone felt very happy when they saw these people. No matter which one it was exciting. Next, we invite Han Chuxue and Qin Ming to stay in the arena. Then a few people walked down. In Lin Xian's opinion, there shouldn't be any suspense in the battle between Han Chuxue and Qin Ming. This Han Chuxue was definitely stronger than Qin Ming. On the arena, wind and snow quickly intertwined. Qin Ming was wind and fire, while Han Chuxue was wind and ice. In terms of attributes, they were basically equal. Terrifying forces collided. Sure enough, the battle continued for 5 minutes. Han Chuxue defeated Qin Ming, and Qin Ming was frozen there. Han Chuxue wins. Next, we invite the second group, Zhuge Feng and Qi Tianqing, to enter the arena. In Lin Xian's opinion, and in everyone's opinion, Qi Tianqing was much stronger than Zhuge Feng. His status was also much higher. However, this battle left everyone dumbfounded. For the first time, Zhuge Feng displayed a terrifying strength in front of everyone. In Lin Xian's opinion, Qi Tianqing's strength was really unimaginable. If they were in the same realm, Lin Xian wouldn't necessarily think that Duan Lingxiao was his opponent. However, this Zhuge Feng was too strong. It exceeded Lin Xian's imagination. The entire arena was basically destroyed. In the end, he defeated Qi Tianqing, although he didn't have it easy either. Go rest and heal first. The next battle is Lin Xian and Morong Yan. It was estimated that the final battle wouldn't take place today, because their spiritual energy was depleted. Moreover, they were injured. The final battle might have to wait for 2 days. However, they could afford to wait, and it was necessary. Everyone wanted to see their true strength. Lin Xian and Morong Yan walked to the arena. Many parts of the arena had already been destroyed. However, it didn't matter. They could just treat it as a change of terrain. Lin Xian and Morong Yan could be considered to have some relationship. Morong Yan was an Xian's betrothed. Morong Yan naturally knew that an Xian and Lin Xian were close. However, he had never interacted with Lin Xian. It was just an arranged marriage. Lin Xian never cared about such things. If it was his, it would be his. Morong Yan was Morongyu's cousin. However, the two didn't seem to be very close. This was because Lin Xian hadn't seen them interact much. In Lin Xian's opinion, Morong Yan's strength should be slightly higher than Xiao Yun's. but not on the same level as Zhugafang's. What made him powerful was that he had the time attribute. The aura of the two surged. I've long wanted to fight with young Master Lin. Today, I finally have the chance. I hope young Master Lin won't disappoint me. Morong Yen stared at Lin Xian and said, whether I'm disappointed or not is another matter. However, Brother Morong, please remember Xiao Yun and Su Jiming who lost to me. Don't be the third one. Lin Xian grinned. That won't happen. After saying that, Morong Yan's figure disappeared. He immediately released Time Stop. Then he arrived in front of Lin Xian and threw a punch at Lin Xian. This was the terrifying part of the time attribute. If you released Time Stop and the opponent couldn't break free, what could you do? You could only take a beating. In Lin Xian's eyes, the time attribute was much more troublesome than the space attribute. This was because his realm was lower than Morong Yan's by 4 stars. It would be difficult for him to break free. However, Lin Xian wasn't afraid of space. Even if there was a difference of 4 stars, he wasn't afraid of space. Of course, if Lin Xian revealed the time attribute, it would be different. Bang! Morong Yan's punch landed on Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian had just broken free and tried his best to block it. However, his figure was still sent flying. Then he released the space attribute and arrived at the distant arena. Damn it! Time is indeed powerful. Morong Yan's lips curled. If they were in the same realm, he wasn't sure if he could beat this person. However, the latter's realm was lower than his. In front of his time attribute, he could only take a beating. Time Stop. Morong Yan released it again. Time Accelerate. Then he released Time Accelerate and rushed in front of Lin Xian. All of a sudden, the two figures froze in place. Everyone was dumbfounded. Lin Xian's lips curled up slightly. Time is indeed troublesome. Unfortunately, I have it too. Moreover, I'm much stronger than you. Everyone. Chapter 1199. That's right, the reason why Morong Yin stopped moving was because he was frozen by Lin Xian's time stop. His realm was indeed 4 stars higher than Lin Xian. But in terms of the purity and proficiency of those attributes, with the existence of the system, Lin Xian had never been convinced by anyone before. He was indeed a genius. Having the power of time was indeed very powerful. It was so powerful that if Lin Xian didn't use time to break his time stop, Lin Xian wouldn't be able to beat him at all. However, once Lin Xian used it, even if his realm was 4 stars higher than Lin Xian's, so what if he released the time attribute? If Lin Xian could crush Xiao Yun with space when he was 4 stars lower than Xiao Yun, then couldn't he crush him with time when he was 4 stars lower than Morong Yen? Bang! In the next moment Lin Xian threw a punch. Morong Yen, who was frozen by time stop, didn't have any room to resist, and was directly blasted out of the arena. Everyone was dumbfounded, and then went into an uproar. What? This Lin Xian actually has time in addition to space, just like Morong Yu? I understand now. No wonder this Lin Xian and Morong Yu went to do the mission together. So that's why. Let's not talk about other things, just based on his attributes. He really is on the same level as Morong Yu. Time, space, thunder, fire, what else? What else? Most people didn't know, but some people did. Poison ice. What the F***ck? Lin Xian's display of time stop completely shocked everyone. Even the academy didn't expect that he would have time stop. Normally he would hide it. But Lin Xian thought about it, and felt that there was no need to do so. Morong Yu saw this scene and frowned. Bastard. During the half-year competition with her, he said that he would use all his strength, and not hold anything back. But he still held back? Bastard. F***ck. Ling Ying couldn't help but curse. Why do I feel that this Lin Xian's attributes can be awakened? Ling Ying and Lin Xian had known each other for a long time. When Lin Xian had just started rising and hadn't become strong, Ling Ying already knew Lin Xian. What did he show at that time? And what did he show step by step? It was too scary. In this way, this Lin Xian's attributes is actually more than Morong Yu's attributes. Luo Xiao asked a mentor beside him. Yes. They had checked Lin Xian's attributes. Poison and ice were Lin Xian's attributes that had been exposed to the world. Although it was only exposed to a small number of people, It wasn't difficult for them to find out. And Lin Xian's time stop was really not exposed, so it was normal that they didn't know. This is too rare. The most frightening thing is that this kid's realm is 4 stars lower than the others. Regardless of whether it's time, space, lightning, or other attributes, he's actually able to suppress the other geniuses' time and space attributes, even though he's 4 stars lower than them. This proves that this kid's control and purity of his attributes is superior to everyone else's. To be able to multitask and still suppress everyone else, he might really be even more frightening than Morongyu. Luo Xiao sighed. And Lin Xian wasn't just like that. In each of his battles, his opponents seemed to be very strong. In everyone's eyes, he was a very tricky and difficult battle. But Lin Xian always won without any delay. Morongyu stood in place and clenched his fists. He couldn't accept his loss. He couldn't accept it. This was because he knew how powerful his domain and precept were. If he released them, so what if Lin Xian had the time attribute? He still wouldn't be a match for him. Even if he admitted that Lin Xian's control of time was better than his, he just couldn't accept it. But what else could he do? A loss was a loss. Could he act shamelessly and say that this round didn't count? Redo. That would simply be a joke. Lin Xian stretched and walked down. Next round, Morongyu and Wu Yuhan, please go up. Then Morongyu and Lin Xian brushed past each other. Lin Xian chuckled and sat down on his seat, carefully watching the battle. Every battle was an opportunity for Lin Xian to learn. It was also an opportunity for Lin Xian to understand each expert. The people here were very strong. Lin Xian couldn't help but admit that if they weren't strong, how could Lin Xian's time attribute be forced out? Although Lin Xian felt that if they were at the same level, it would be much easier to fight. But this was also quite good. Fighting across levels was also quite satisfying. Xiao Runing moved to Lin Xian's side and walked to where Morongyu originally sat. What other attributes do you have? Xiao Runing asked curiously. This was too exaggerated. Morongyu was the only one in the younger generation known to have the time and space attributes. Now Lin Xian also displayed these 2 attributes. Wow. That's it, really, that's it. Even if I'm a genius, there has to be a limit, right? Lin Xian said. I keep feeling that I don't believe you. Xiao Runing mumbled. It was quite a surprise. In that case, you might be able to get first place, Xiao Runing said. Lin Xian. Xiao Ningning, aren't you too confident in me? I'm at the 6-star domain realm, not the 10-star domain realm. Let's not talk about other things. Morongyu aside, that Zhuge Feng is very strong. And that Duan Lingxiao is at the heavenly venerable realm. And not just any ordinary heavenly venerable realm. He's a top-notch genius. What do I have to fight with him? Lin Xian said helplessly. That makes sense. But why do I have a strange feeling that you can fight? Xiao Runing sized up Lin Xian. She really had this strange feeling. This Lin Xian might have given her too many surprises every time. Could it be that I'm too strong in bed? So you subconsciously think that I'm too strong? Lin Xian grinned. Xiao Runing, get lost. Xiao Runing rolled her eyes and walked away. Lin Xian rubbed his chin. He had fought Morongyu too many times. In the beginning, the odds of winning against her were about 20. 80, Morongyu 80, Lin Xian 2. After fighting for half a year, the odds were about 40. 60, Morongyu 60, Lin Xian 40. After all, they were getting more and more familiar with each other. After getting to know each other better, he also understood some of her habits. However, if they really fought, Lin Xian felt that the odds were about 40. 60, Morongyu had a higher chance of winning. But nothing was certain. But that Duan Lingxiao, he might not have as many terrifying attributes as Morongyu. He only had 2 attributes, thunder and fire. Of course, this was only on the surface. Whether he had 3 attributes or not, he really didn't know. However, his thunder and fire were very powerful. Otherwise, how could he beat up a space attribute martial artist without the space attribute? Of course, the suppression of cultivation realm was one aspect. The grade of martial arts techniques was another. However, Duan Lingxiao was indeed strong. But for some reason, Lin Xian felt that this Duan Lingxiao might not be as strong as that Zhuge Feng. This Zhuge Feng was like a top-notch dark horse. He didn't have such a heaven-defying background, But he was very strong. Chapter 1200. In Lin Xian's eyes, he felt that Morong Yu and Zhuge Feng were the strongest out of all the participants. Although Lin Xian felt that Wu Yuhan and the others were also very powerful, in the arena, the two figures flashed rapidly, dazzling the eyes of the spectators. F***ck. Lin Xian had seen Wu Yuhan attack many times. However, she was a little different this time. She had the initiative throughout the battle, and her attacks were unimaginably sharp. Lin Xian felt that Wu Yuhan was an assassin in the night, and every move was fatal. Ling Ying was the same, but she might not be as good as Wu Yuhan in this aspect. Morong Yu was constantly suppressed by her attacks, and she was even a little overwhelmed. It was enough to show how terrifying she was. However, Lin Xian still believed that Morong Yu would win because of her attributes. If Wu Yuhan was given any of the time or space attributes, coupled with her current abilities, it would be difficult for Morong Yu to win. However, she did not have any of those attributes. Moreover, if she had the time or space attributes, she would not be as sharp as she was now. This was because she would specialize in time or space attributes, and not her current movement and attacks. The battle lasted for more than 15 minutes. In the end, Wu Yuhan was still defeated. Lin Xian did not know if Wu Yuhan had used all of her strength. She should not have. Normally, no one would use all of their strength in a battle like this. For example, they would use more powerful martial techniques and more unrevealed strength. Morong Yu did not use any of her strength either. However, it did not mean that they were not on the same level. If they were given the same attribute, it would be hard to say. However, wasn't the world like this? The world was unfair. Everyone was born unfairly. The only thing they could do was to make it fair through their own efforts. Some people were born with the time and space attribute, while others were born with the water attribute. Who would dare to say that this was fair? Morong Yu and Wu Yuhan shook hands, and then the two of them walked down the stage. Then Duanling Xiao and Xiao Xinyue walked up. Xiao Xinyue was very helpless. She had encountered a celestial venerable. Although Xiao Xinyue was powerful, the celestial venerable she had encountered was not a second-rate celestial venerable. He was a top genius. Therefore, she believed that she had already lost. However, she would not give up such an opportunity to compete. So you still have time. Morong Yu sat beside Lin Xian and said. So? Lin Xian asked with a smile. That's why you still held back during our competition. Lin Xian shrugged. Don't tell me you didn't keep it. Morong Yu. Well, then she stopped talking. Looks like we haven't communicated thoroughly enough. Why don't we? Lin Xian said with a smile. Morong Yu didn't say anything as she watched the competition. Xiao Xinyue had indeed lost, but there was nothing she could do about it. If they were all in the heavenly venerable realm, then her chances of winning were still very high. However, with the heavenly venerable realm here, what could she do? In the end, the top 5 were Lin Xian, Morong Yu, Duanling Xiao, Zhuge Feng, and Han Chuxue. Lin Xian, Morong Yu, Duanling Xiao, Zhuge Feng, and Han Chuxue are the top 5. The finals will be held tomorrow. Today, you will have time to rest and recuperate. Tomorrow, I hope that you will be in your best state for the competition. Tomorrow's competition will not be held on the stage. It will be held in a completely new and unknown place. It may not only test your combat strength. You will know the specifics tomorrow, so let's disperse for now. This was quite interesting. It was not only a test of combat strength. Lin Xian might feel that his chances of winning were a little higher because Lin Xian still felt that he was very sneaky. Then they went back together. Do your best tomorrow, Ling Ying said to Lin Xian. Let's see who I hit. What if I hit little Chuxue? Lin Xian grinned and looked at Han Chuxue. I will do my best, Han Chuxue said. Forget it. Let's not think about this. Let's play tonight, Lin Xian said with a smile. Ling Ying rolled his eyes. Play. Continue to let her touch Xiao Xinyue? Xiao Xinyue was very uncomfortable. That play still hurt. Bastard Lin Xian. Bastard. I'm not playing, Xiao Xinyue said with extreme displeasure. Lin Xian glanced at Xiao Xinyue. Oh, what's wrong with this girl? The competition is tomorrow. Shouldn't we relax tonight? Lin Xian said. Shouldn't we prepare properly? Morong Yu said. Then tell me, what do we need to prepare? Lin Xian asked with a smile. Right, what do we need to prepare? Opponent information? We can't use spirit artifacts. What can we do? That seems to make sense. Let's play, let's play. Lan Xingxing said enthusiastically. She ran to Morong Yu's side and pulled on Morong Yu's hand. Then she ran to Ling Ying's side. Everyone ran one round and encouraged them to play. As long as they played together, Lin Xian would definitely make delicious food. Lin Xian was actually thinking about going to Xiao Runing's place tonight. It didn't matter if they played or not. If they didn't play, then they would go to Xiao Runing's place. After playing, they could get together and cultivate their relationship. After the competition tomorrow, they would go and see Xiao Shirshir. How about barbecue? The weather is still cold. Barbecue should be quite cool. Ling Ying suggested. Okay. Barbecue was something that everyone liked to do. They could roast all kinds of meat and vegetables while drinking wine and enjoying the night scenery. It seemed very comfortable. Then let's go to the peak. The scenery is good. Morong Yu said. Okay. At night, they had a barbecue early. The few of them chatted happily. Lin Xian was a man of few words. He quietly listened to their conversation. It was only 9 o'clock when they finished eating. Then everyone left. Oh ho, let's go and find Xiao Ningning. He finished eating with everyone so early. It was just the right time to find Xiao Runing. Xiao Runing was currently playing games with Linya and the others in her dormitory. Whoosh! Lin Xian's figure appeared directly beside her. Xiao Runing glanced at him. Why are you? Halfway through her sentence, she quickly shut her mouth. Miss Xiao, what did you say? Lu Yufan's voice came. I know nothing. Xiao Runing hurriedly said. If she told them that Lin Xian was at her house in the middle of the night, it would be difficult to explain. Then, Xiao Runing hurriedly finished the game, turned off the voice chat, and went offline. What are you doing? She looked at Lin Xian and rolled her eyes. Hee, what do you think I'm doing? Lin Xian grinned and leaned over. Then his big hands started to move. I'm warning you. Don't be too presumptuous. Xiao Runing said. How is that considered presumptuous? We haven't seen each other in so long. And we haven't been intimate. Kiss. Lin Xian truly felt that he was becoming more and more of a jerk. It didn't matter. After all, they were all his women. Chapter 1201. That night, Lin Xian tormented Xiao Runing to no end. Originally, Xiao Runing subconsciously tried to resist, but she couldn't resist at all. This Lin Xian was simply a bastard. The next morning, Lin Xian yawned and opened his eyes. Then he subconsciously groped around, but didn't find Xiao Runing. Lin Xian then stretched and walked out. Xiao Runing was in the kitchen making breakfast for Lin Xian. Perhaps sometimes they did this and that. But to be honest, they really cared about Lin Xian. If not, who would wake up early to make breakfast for him? Lin Xian leaned against the kitchen wall and looked at Xiao Runing. What are you looking at? Xiao Runing glared at Lin Xian. I'm looking at how pretty you are. Lin Xian laughed. Forget it. You can say that to other girls. I won't fall for it. Xiao Runing rolled her eyes. But you've already fallen for it. Lin Xian said with a smile. Go. Hurry up and finish your breakfast and prepare for today's battle. No matter who you face today, they're all very strong. The academy said that there will be changes to the rules today. I don't know either. Just do your best. Xiao Runing passed the breakfast to Lin Xian. Then I guess the map will be changed. Lin Xian. Yes, definitely. I just don't know what kind of situation we'll be in. Hurry up and leave after eating. Wow. You're so cruel. You weren't like this last night when you wanted it. Xiao Runing took a bite of the breakfast and said, You're just a tool. Lin Xian. F***ck. After the meal, everyone gathered in the arena one after another. At this moment, there were several special instruments placed in the arena. Oh, what does that mean? Lin Xian moved closer to Morong Yu from the military class. It couldn't be helped. They were seated according to class. If Lin Xian didn't sit beside Morong Yu, where else could he sit? Other people couldn't sit beside her even if they wanted to. Simulation pod, you should have used it before. Morongyu said. Are we going to compete like this? Lin Xian rubbed his chin. It's all right. Although the simulation pod is illusory, everything is not much different from reality. Moreover, I can fight at will. Even if I kill the opponent, it won't cause any damage. Morongyu said. But there's no pain. That's quite different from a real martial arts competition. You just need to modify the data a little. The damage stimulates the brain, and you just need to feel pain. Morongyu said. That's interesting. Lin Xian looked on with interest. Basically, everyone had gathered here. Luo Xiu once again walked towards the arena. Then he coughed and said, because for the next competition, in fact, yesterday's top 20 competition should have used this method. But it doesn't matter. Next, I'm going to talk about the rules of the competition. As everyone can see, this is the battle simulation cabin. Next, we will connect the two battle simulation cabins and set up a map. The consciousness of the two participants will enter the map. Although you will only be consciousness inside, you will be exactly the same as reality, except that you are not real people. We have even modified the sense of pain. Although your consciousness will enter, if you are injured, your cerebral cortex will be stimulated, and you will feel pain. Luo Xiu paused and continued. After entering the random map, the two of you will start fighting. You can use all your martial skills and attribute powers. There are also spirit weapons, and the grade is the same. They are all illusions. The release of martial skills is also a visual impact, but the effect is exactly the same as the power used on the body. This is also to ensure your safety, and to let you truly fight. Sure enough, it was as they had guessed. Your goal is no longer to defeat the other party, but to kill the other party through the battle simulation. Fight with all your strength, and don't hold back. You don't have to worry about getting injured or dying, because that's just your consciousness. There are many random maps. After entering, the two of you will land in two random locations. Whether it's sneak attacks or hiding, that's a part of your strength. Therefore, this competition is more of a test of your overall strength. And there's a bigger stage. At this time, Xiao Runing asked curiously, then Vice Principal, may I ask if you can't beat them and use the space attribute to escape and circle back and forth, is that okay? Why not? Space is also a part of everyone's strength. As long as you can win, anything is fine. And the opponent can't do anything about space. That's also something that can't be helped. Unless he has some method. Unless he can instantly kill the opponent. Luo Xiu said. Understood. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. This is interesting. And you can watch their battle through the big screen. Then let's start the first round. 5 people will be randomly selected, and one of them will be empty. Now please look at the big screen. The big screen began to scroll. Lin Xian versus Zhuge Fengmorongyu versus Han Chushuaduan Lingxiao was empty. Hua! To be honest, this result was very delightful. Duan Lingxiao getting a bye was the best news, because he was a heavenly venerable. No one could win against him, so it would be boring. The best thing was for Duan Lingxiao to have a final battle with the last person. Before that, it would be best for him to get a bye in the next round. That way, there would be more to watch. Next, let's invite Zhuge Feng and Lin Xian to the battle arena. Let's go. Morongyu said. Zhuge Feng is proficient in all kinds of strange techniques. When you fight with him, you have to imagine that he's a full attribute warrior. I know. This was indeed the scary part about Zhuge Feng. His attributes were limited, but his strange techniques and all kinds of formations were basically all attributes. Although those formations might not be as perverse as true attributes, when combined with his personal strength, it was no wonder that Qi Tianqing lost to him. Lin Xian saw the battle between Zhuge Feng and Qi Tianqing. Zhuge Feng's personal strength might not be as good as Qi Tianqing's, but Qi Tianqing was simply tortured by Zhuge Feng's flexible use of formations and various other abilities. Lin Xian admired Zhuge Feng, so much so that he wanted him to join their storm squad. This time, he would let him have a good fight with Zhuge Feng. Zhuge Feng and Lin Xian stood together, then shook hands with Lin Xian. Young Master Lin, we can finally have a good fight. Zhuge Feng smiled. Lin Xian smiled and said, What's wrong? Are you envious of the beautiful girls beside me and want to beat me up? Ha ha ha, that's right. Let's see who's the real deal. The two then lay down in the simulation pod, connected the data, and a screen appeared. The two of them landed on a snowy map, both of them holding the same system-assigned sword. They were about 1 kilometer away from each other. The map wasn't too big. There were 2 snowy peaks that were a few hundred meters tall, a few small snow hills that were a few dozen meters tall, and the rest of the map was undulating. It was quite easy to find a person on a map like this. Lin Xian looked around, then jumped into the snow. He even wriggled a few times, completely hiding himself in the snow. Others didn't know if he could beat Zhuge Feng, but he was really hiding. Chapter 1202. In everyone's eyes, it was too exaggerated. Wow. No matter what, this Lin Xian was still an expert. He had mastered time and space. Did he have to be so king obscene? Although this did not violate the rules of the competition, the academy allowed you to be on such a map to allow the students to be flexible. In addition to relying on their own strength, they also had to use everything around them. This was because this was the most realistic battle, so Lin Xian was fine. But it was too wretched. It was really too wretched. As expected, that B*TCH is still that B*TCH. Ling Ying and the others shook their heads helplessly when they saw this scene. As a top-notch martial artist and a domain realm existence, it would be fine even if they were buried in the snow for a few days. Otherwise, how different would they be from ordinary people? Lin Xian hid there and used his divine sense to sense everything around him. Because it was snowing heavily now, the surface of the snow would soon recover, so Lin Xian chose to do this. If it was not snowing heavily, Lin Xian would be courting death if he still did this. Zhuge Feng was not so wretched. He held a transmogrified spiritual weapon and walked in the snow, looking for Lin Xian. He had a feeling that this Lin Xian would not act according to common sense, but he really did not know what this Lin Xian would do. Whoosh! In the next moment, he climbed up the highest mountain on the map and scanned the surroundings. Strange, where is he? With his powerful eyesight, he could see anything below him that was different in color from the snow. However, he did not see anything. The only thing he could not see was the back slopes of the other mountains. A normal person in his current situation would naturally guess that he was on one of the other slopes, and his position was very likely exposed. Zhuge Feng smiled, then quickly formed a seal with both hands. Along the way, he quietly set up formations and looked for Lin Xian. This Zhuge Feng secretly set up a formation. This Lin Xian is going to be in trouble. This Lin Xian thinks that he is smart. He thinks that he can ambush Zhuge Feng. However, this map is not small. Zhuge Feng may not pass by Lin Xian. Coincidentally, Lin Xian's cleverness allows Zhuge Feng to set up countless formations. When the time comes, as long as this Lin Xian's ambush fails, he will definitely lose. Zhuge Feng's various formations were too strong. Perhaps a single formation wouldn't be of much use, but if he were to use them consecutively, with all kinds of formations added to his own strength, it would simply overwhelm the opponent. He relied on this to defeat Qi Tianqing. The power of his formations was unanimously acknowledged by everyone. Now that Lin Xian didn't take the initiative to attack him, giving him too much time to set up formations in secret. If they were to fight, how could he fight? Strange, what is this Lin Xian trying to do? As time passed, Zhuge Feng became more and more fearful of Yi Futian. What was Lin Xian doing? Everyone couldn't see him, but they knew where he was. Was Lin Xian trying to ambush him? Maybe everyone thought so, but that wasn't the case. It would be better if he could ambush him. Lin Xian had already used the law of creation to increase his strength when he was lying down. The increase wasn't much because Lin Xian focused more on increasing the duration of the formation. However, every time he recovered his spiritual energy, he would increase it by a little. He continued to increase it and increase it. He was getting stronger and stronger. It lasted for a long time. About an hour later, the people below were about to collapse. What the F***ck are you trying to do? Lin Xian wanted to teach this Zhuge Feng a lesson. Although it was quite interesting to compete with him, Lin Xian thought that there would be plenty of opportunities in the future. If he fought with him normally, Lin Xian believed that he would have to use his full strength. At that time everything would be exposed, let alone fighting with Duan Lingxiao. That's right, since he was going to fight, he would take first place. Lin Xian wanted to leave everything to Duan Lingxiao. Zhuge Feng had already set up dozens of formations, and was waiting for Lin Xian to come out. Lin Xian, are you still not coming out? Zhuge Feng shouted. He knew that he had already been exposed to Lin Xian. Lin Xian was in the dark while he was in the light. Now they could fight. Lin Xian heard the voice not far away from him. The corner of his mouth curled up slightly. Law of creation. Lin Xian continued to increase his spiritual energy. Then he instantly released almost all of his spiritual energy. The law of creation once again increased his strength. His current strength was probably at the level of a heavenly venerable. Whoosh! In the next instant, Lin Xian appeared behind Zhuge Feng. Zhuge Feng's expression changed, and he stomped his foot. You're finally here. Zhuge Feng then burst out with power and slashed behind him. Boom whoosh everyone. Lin Xian killed Zhuge Feng instantly with unimaginable power. Everyone was stunned. They waited for an hour. And it was over in one move? What the F***ck? What's going on? It's over just like that? Why? Why is Lin Xian so strong? I feel that the power of that attack should be at the level of a heavenly venerable, right? Otherwise, how could he kill Zhuge Feng in an instant? I think Zhuge Feng is stunned. No. How can this Lin Xian be at the level of a heavenly venerable? Everyone looked at him in confusion. Morongyu, who was the only one who knew about Lin Xian's law of creation, also came to a realization. Lin Xian had once again exceeded her expectations. She also thought that Lin Xian was a dog hiding there, and preparing to launch a sneak attack. In fact, he was constantly using the law of creation to buff himself, increase the duration of the buff, and increase the recovery of his spiritual power. So that's what he was planning. Genius. She still didn't know him well enough. In the simulation pod, the two opened their eyes and walked out. Zhuge Feng was indeed stunned. During that hour, he thought of many possibilities, but he really didn't think of this. Otherwise, his first reaction would be to distance himself from Lin Xian, instead of fighting him head-on. He didn't expect to be killed by Lin Xian in one move. Young Master Lin, you're not being kind. I prepared the array for an hour. Zhuge Feng looked at Lin Xian helplessly. Lin Xian smiled and said, although the process didn't feel very interesting, but, Zhuge Feng said, but you've taught me a lesson. Sure enough, I can't use common sense to fight with you. But don't worry, if there's a next time, I won't let you get away with it. Maybe next time, I'll come up with something even more sinister. Ha ha ha, then I can learn a lot from you. This is all experience. But why is your power so high? This was what Zhuge Feng was most confused about. This is a secret. Then the two walked down. Lin Xian wins. Now, Morongyu and Han Chuxue, please enter the simulation pod for the battle. Chapter 1203. Lin Xian's victory left the academy, and the three major forces dumbfounded. They had never thought of this. Lin Xian had already surprised them time and time again. Duan Lingxiao frowned slightly. The power of a heavenly venerable? If that power was not at the heavenly venerable realm, it was impossible to defeat Zhuge Feng. Normally, Zhuge Feng would not be defeated so easily. He had no chance to show his advantage in the battle with Lin Xian. In fact, he had been careless. He had been very careful because Zhuge Feng thought highly of Lin Xian, but he had still been careless. Duan Lingxiao shook his head. Not at the heavenly venerable realm. If Lin Xian was at the heavenly venerable realm, he would not have dodged at all. He would have just rushed over and done with it. What was the reason? The law of creation was something that no one would think of. Knowing it was one thing, but the second thing was that it was really a legendary existence. In Duan Lingxiao's opinion, his final opponent would either be Lin Xian or Morongyu. Although Han Chuxue was strong, her attributes were there. Morongyu had time and space, and at the same time, she also had ice. It was basically impossible for Han Chuxue to win against her. If he fought against Lin Xian, at least he knew that he could not let Lin Xian stall for time. He did not know why, But as long as he stalled for time, Duan Lingxiao felt that when the time came, Lin Xian would fight him with the power of a heavenly venerable. Lin Xian had time and space. If he could erupt with the power of a heavenly venerable, Duan Lingxiao might not be his opponent. In the past he did not take Lin Xian seriously, but now he had to. If he, a heavenly venerable, lost to Lin Xian, he would really be a joke. This was absolutely not allowed. Hey, what's going on? Xiao Runing asked Lin Xian in confusion. I'm not telling you. TSK, who cares? Xiao Runing rolled her eyes. This Lin Xian was becoming more and more mysterious. Morong Yu and Han Chushua's battle was not too flashy, and the result was not too suspenseful. Han Chushua lost. Morong Yu's realm was 2 stars lower than Han Chushua's, so she was completely suppressed by Han Chushua at the beginning of the battle. If the battle continued like this, then Morong Yu would lose. However, when Morong Yu released her other attributes, the situation was reversed. Attributes were a part of one's strength. If their realms were the same, Morong Yu might not choose to use her other attributes. However, her realms were suppressed, so she had no choice but to use them. Next, Duan Lingxiao, Morong Yu, and Lin Xian will proceed to the final battle. One of the 3 will be randomly selected to advance to the final battle. The winner of the other 2 will participate in the final battle. Now the big screen is rolling. No matter who it was, in everyone's eyes, Duan Lingxiao had already taken one of the 2 spots. As for the other one, it was hard to say. After all, Lin Xian was not weak. As for the first place, it should be Duan Lingxiao. Although they both had space and time, Duan Lingxiao's realm was suppressed. Heavenly venerables and domains were different. Morong Yu's spot was empty. Next was the battle between Lin Xian and Duan Lingxiao. For some reason, Duan Lingxiao did not want to fight with Lin Xian. He had a very absurd feeling of worry. He was actually worried that Lin Xian would defeat him. This was ridiculous. The only person in the entire academy who had a chance of defeating him was Morong Yu. However, Morong Yu was still at the 8 stars domain realm. He was already a heavenly venerable, so it was impossible for Morong Yu to defeat him. Lin Xian and Duan Lingxiao walked up. I look forward to fighting with you, Duan Lingxiao said. Lin Xian shrugged. Go easy on me. Duan Lingxiao did not say anything because he did not dare to go easy on Lin Xian. He was afraid that if he did, he would lose. Then the 2 of them lay down in the simulation pod. At this moment, the most mysterious dean of the academy walked out. Dean. The instructors bowed one after another. Basically, these students had not seen the dean for the past 6 months. He was too mysterious and did not come out at all. Even if there was a big matter, the vice dean, Luo Xiao, would preside over it. He still did not attend, but this time he came out. The dean of the martial arts academy nodded. Then he sat there and looked at the big screen. Naturally, he was very curious about the battle between them. In the end, they fought until here. In his expectations, Morong Yu and Lin Xian would take 2 spots. The rest would depend on the situation. The battle between Lin Xian and Duan Lingxiao was still very interesting. Dean, who do you think will win this battle? Luo Xiao asked respectfully. The dean of the martial arts academy shook his head. It's hard to say. If the gap between their realms is smaller, then Lin Xian will definitely win. Hiss, hearing the dean of the martial arts academy's words, they were all shocked. This Duan Lingxiao was not a simple person. Yet, the dean said this with such certainty. How much confidence did he have in Lin Xian? It's a pity that this Lin Xian is only at the 6-star domain realm, while Duan Lingxiao is at the 1-star heavenly venerable realm. The gap between them is too big. With this gap, the effects of time and space are almost negligible. It is also difficult for strength to cause any harm. Although the strength displayed by Lin Xian and Zhugafeng was very strong, it is probably the effect of an hour of accumulation of power. As long as Duan Lingxiao does not give Lin Xian a chance, then Lin Xian will have no chance at all. Luo Xiao sighed and said, yes, the gap was too big. It's hard to say. The dean of the martial arts academy looked at the big screen with a hint of wisdom in his cloudy eyes. Hard to say. This battle was already a foregone conclusion in the eyes of a normal martial artist. However, the dean of the martial arts academy actually said it was hard to say? What kind of existence was he? It was unimaginable. This kind of powerhouse could see things more clearly. Could this Lin Xian be able to surpass the 5-star domain realm and defeat Duan Lingxiao at the same time? No matter how he thought about it, it was impossible. With a flash of light, Lin Xian and Duan Lingxiao appeared on the surface of the sea. Yes, they did not see wrongly. They appeared on the surface of the sea. This map might not be big. The sea seemed endless, but there was definitely a boundary. They could stand on the surface of the sea with their spiritual power. As for Duan Lingxiao, who was at the heavenly venerable realm, he could fly in the air. Therefore, this map might be disadvantageous to Lin Xian in this battle. F***CK, the surface of the sea. Lin Xian looked at the map of the sea and did not feel too good. He thought that if he was in a rainforest or similar map, he would continue to hide for 1 or 2 hours and wait until his strength had at least reached a sufficient level before coming out to fight. However, this sea was right in front of him. How could he hide? Should he just bite the bullet and fight? Duan Lingxiao landed on the surface of the sea, and then leaped into the air to look for Lin Xian. He immediately saw Lin Xian. Chapter 1204. Lin Xian also saw Duan Lingxiao flying into the air. In fact, if he had to hide, Lin Xian might be able to hide in the sea, but don't forget that Duan Lingxiao had the thunder attribute. If he released the thunder attribute with the power of a heavenly venerable, Lin Xian would be electrocuted to death in the water. Shua! Duan Lingxiao sneered when he saw Lin Xian and swung the sword in his hand. There was nowhere to hide on the surface of the sea. His only way was to meet Duan Lingxiao head-on. Duan Lingxiao was a heavenly venerable, so there was no way Duan Lingxiao could beat him. As long as Duan Lingxiao didn't have time to release that mysterious ability that could make him stronger, he would lose without a doubt. Lin Xian, then I won't be polite. Thundershock slash. For martial artists like them, having a spirit weapon or not made a big difference. Lin Xian might not rely too much on spirit weapons, but Duan Lingxiao was extremely reliant on them. Most of his combat power relied on swords. Now that he had a sword in hand, he was definitely another Duan Lingxiao. He swung the sword in his hand at Lin Xian, and the thunder in the sky turned into a thunder dragon that rushed toward Lin Xian. Lin Xian was secretly speechless. This King Heavenly Venerable was still strong. The only good news was that Duan Lingxiao had just advanced to the 1-star Heavenly Venerable realm, so some things were not particularly stable. He was only 1 realm higher. Shua! Purple lightning flashed around Lin Xian. The purple lightning crushed the blue lightning in terms of purity and power. To a certain extent, it could make up for the gap. Strength exchange, thunder shock transformation. Shua! The purple lightning and blue lightning collided, and in an instant, the sea became turbulent. Boom! The remaining power bombarded Lin Xian. Lin Xian released the space attribute and dodged instantly. Waves more than 10 meters high were blasted into the sea. There was nothing he could do about it. Just by exchanging attributes to double his strength and adding the purple lightning, there was still a gap between him and a heavenly venerable. However, Lin Xian felt that if he used the law of creation to increase his strength, the gap would not be too big. However, his spiritual power consumption would be particularly large. The corners of Duan Lingxiao's lips curled up slightly when he saw this. It seemed like that was all he had. Sure enough, as long as he was not given time, he would not be that strong. In that case, there was nothing for him to fear. Take this. Whoosh! Duan Lingxiao charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian was too lazy to use spatial seal or time stop because he knew that this kind of power was useless against him. Speed exchange, defense exchange. With the amplification of several great powers, Lin Xian and his 2 silhouettes flickered unceasingly on the surface of the sea. Lightning and thunder intersected, and their speed was unimaginable. In everyone's eyes, they were all experts. However, Lin Xian was forced to retreat again and again. After all, the difference in strength was too great. That's it. If that's the case, then Lin Xian will definitely lose. What? Do you still think that he can win? No matter what kind of power he uses, he won't be able to win. Time and space are indeed powerful, But when faced with an existence of such a level and with such a huge gap in cultivation level, the effect is next to nothing. This Lin Xian is also very smart. He didn't use any time or space power on him. At most, he used it on himself because he knows that using it on Duan Lingxiao is a complete waste of spiritual power. If you have no other ability, then you can admit defeat. Duan Lingxiao looked at Lin Xian in front of him, and lightning surged. You can't hit me during that time. Lin Xian said. Your realm is lower than mine, and the spiritual power consumed by spatial jump is not small. If you blindly use spatial jump to dodge, your spiritual power will be consumed faster than mine. Because I'm in the heavenly venerable realm, Duan Lingxiao said. Let's try. Humph. Let's try then. Duan Lingxiao snorted coldly. Thunder heaven annihilation. Following that, he raised his sword to the sky, and thunder clouds rolled in the void, even causing a phenomenon of heaven and earth. God rank martial skill? Lin Xian sensed for a moment. This was definitely a F*King God rank martial skill. Otherwise, it would be impossible to cause such a phenomenon of heaven and earth. This young master will bombard this entire domain. Let's see how you can dodge it. Duan Lingxiao shouted angrily. The people outside saw the rolling thunder above the void on the screen. The thunder spread, and the entire sky was flashing with lightning. This martial skill was simply dumbfounding. It was impossible to dodge underwater. Perhaps hiding underwater could prevent him from being hit directly, but water was conductive. This God-rank martial skill's thunder would still hit him. Then let's try it. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed, and the aura on his body surged. What? This Lin Xian can't be thinking of competing with Duan Lingxiao in strength, right? When everyone saw this scene, they were all stunned. This Lin Xian has 10,000 ways to defeat Lin Xian. If it wasn't for Lin Xian's space constantly dodging, Duan Lingxiao would have been defeated long ago. Now Duan Lingxiao doesn't want to waste time with Lin Xian. This God-rank martial skill directly enveloped an area of 10,000 meters and descended from the sky. Lin Xian can't dodge with his space, and he can't go underwater either. He can only brace himself and fight. As expected, a heavenly venerable is still strong. This God-rank martial skill is simply shocking. Lin Xian exchanged his attributes. God-rank martial skill, Thunder Heaven Prison. Lin Xian's eyes glowed purple, and the thunder on his body surged. Arg! In the next instant, the purple thunder spread around Lin Xian and instantly filled the air. Although the visual impact wasn't as exaggerated as when released by the heavenly venerable Duan Lingxiao, it was still very strong. This God-rank 2-star martial skill was given to Lin Xian by Morongyu. When she went to the divine realm, she took the opportunity to ask for it from the sacred palace and later gave it to Lin Xian. There Lin Xian also learned this God-rank martial skill. As a God-rank martial skill, its power was needless to say. Duan Lingxiao took a look. This Lin Xian actually dared to release a God-rank martial skill to fight with him? Although he spread out the God-rank martial skill, and the large area caused the attack power to be much smaller, he was still a heavenly venerable. However, he still felt uneasy, so he released his soaring thunder law again. His power doubled. Boom! Countless thunder pythons rushed toward Lin Xian from all directions, and heaven and earth lost their color. Creation law. Lin Xian was naturally not a match for a normal God-rank martial skill, but he had the creation law. Boom! Everyone couldn't see the situation on the screen clearly, but the collision of two great God-rank martial skills, one released by a heavenly venerable, and the other released by a domain realm, was a completely different concept. He would definitely die if he went all out. He couldn't run or block it. In an instant, Lin Xian's God-rank martial skill was swallowed up. As simple as an elephant trampling an ant to death. Duan Lingxiao smiled, but gradually, his smile became fainter and fainter because he felt that something was wrong. It's over. A voice suddenly came from beside him, and at the same time, a black hole appeared behind him. Bang everyone! Chapter 1205. What happened next might shatter everyone's worldview. Lin Xian suddenly appeared in front of Duan Lingxiao. This was nothing because Lin Xian was of the spatial attribute, But Duan Lingxiao's divine rank martial skill was bombarding indiscriminately, and the divine rank martial skill released by Lin Xian was instantly devoured. It was enough to show how terrifying a divine rank martial skill released by an Empyrean was. And now, Lin Xian was either dead or needed to release an even more powerful force to resist the destruction of this divine rank martial skill. But he didn't. No one knew if he couldn't release it or what, but his divine rank martial skill was completely devoured in an instant. In everyone's eyes, he should also be devoured along with the divine rank martial skill, but he didn't. What they didn't expect the most was that not only did Lin Xian not defend, but he directly appeared in front of Duan Lingxiao to attack him. What did he rely on to attack him? This was simply a self-destructive attack, because only by defending could he possibly withstand the power of a deity-tier martial skill. Now he had abandoned his defense and exposed himself to the deity-tier martial skill to attack Duan Lingxiao. He was finished. This was everyone's first thought until the black hole appeared behind Duan Lingxiao, until all the lightning fell on Lin Xian, and until Lin Xian was actually safe and sound. Everyone was in an uproar and caused a huge uproar. Bang! In the next instant, Lin Xian kicked Duan Lingxiao, who was still in a daze, into the black hole. Everyone was completely dumbfounded. The lightning disappeared, and Lin Xian fell on the sea surface, indicating that he didn't feel good at all. Whoosh! In the next instant, everyone was in an uproar. F***CK? What the hell? What the hell is this? Duan Lingxiao lost? No, how did he lose? Can't you get out of that black hole after entering? No, this isn't important. What's important is how Lin Xian withstood the attack of the divine rank martial skill. Even the divine rank martial skill he released instantly turned into nothingness. It's impossible for him to withstand the divine rank martial skill. Not to mention him, even a top earth attribute martial artist or metal attribute martial artist can't withstand it at all. What's going on? How could this Lin Xian's defense be so ridiculous? I'm sure Duan Lingxiao is dumbfounded as well, because it's completely impossible to accomplish this in a normal martial arts competition. A normal person would absolutely not imagine that someone at the domain realm would actually be fine while facing a divine rank martial skill at the heavenly venerable realm, and even attack him. This was something that no one had expected. That was right. Everyone thought that this match was over and Lin Xian was defeated, but in the end, Lin Xian gave everyone a pleasant surprise, an unexpected pleasant surprise, too exaggerated. Lin Xian stood on the surface of the sea and took a deep breath, the corners of his mouth rising slightly. Why was it like this? Actually, it was very simple. When he released the myriad lightning heavenly prison, he subconsciously wanted to use the law of creation to forcibly increase the power of the myriad lightning heavenly prison, and then collide with Duan Lingxiao's divine rank martial skill. However, Lin Xian suddenly realized that it was useless. Even if he blocked it, he didn't have much spiritual power left. If he continued to fight with Duan Lingxiao, everything would be the starting point, and it would be the starting point where he would definitely lose. Therefore, he did the opposite. If I don't F***king increase my attack, can I increase my defense? Therefore, Lin Xian directly exchanged for defense, and at the same time, used the law of creation to create defense. Therefore, he was able to use his own defense to forcibly block the divine rank martial skill, released by a heavenly venerable realm martial skill, and then use his remaining spiritual power to release the myriad lightning heavenly prison. There was no other way. This was Lin Xian's only chance. If Wan Xie had been there, he could have used the power of darkness to deal a fatal blow to him. However, there wasn't. Therefore, this was Lin Xian's only chance, and in the end he won. Duan Lingxiao couldn't react at all, because he simply couldn't think of it. No one could have thought of it. Even if Lin Xian was in Duan Lingxiao's shoes, Lin Xian wouldn't have thought of it. Secondly, Lin Xian's spatial speed was too fast. Duan Lingxiao's surprise and Lin Xian's super-fast speed, coupled with Duan Lingxiao's lack of spatial attributes, led to his defeat. Under normal circumstances, Lin Xian wouldn't have been able to win. The gap between them was too big. Moreover, he didn't use his domain. In any case, Lin Xian seemed to have defeated his opponent by catching them off guard. There were even a few times when his opponent was clearly very powerful, but he didn't have time to use his law of creation and domain. However, how could this be blamed on Lin Xian, who asked him not to use his domain? He was just like Xiao Yin. Wasn't he better off using his domain? If he had used his domain, would he, Lin Xian, still have a chance to win? Then, Lin Xian quickly disappeared on the spot. It was too painful, too painful. He had to quickly leave this simulated map. In reality, they opened their eyes. Duan Lingxiao had opened his eyes a long time ago. He had been lying there, unable to accept this fact. He didn't dare to sit up and look at everyone's disbelieving eyes. He felt that this was the biggest grievance he had ever suffered in his life. How could he lose? Why did he lose? If he was given another chance, it definitely wouldn't be like this. He definitely wouldn't be careless. But at least he didn't have that chance now. Dean, what's going on? Luo Xiu asked the dean beside him in shock. How could a domain realm martial artist withstand the power of a heavenly venerable realm martial artist's divine level martial skill and be fine? This was indeed beyond the knowledge of this group of old fellows. The dean of the martial arts academy was thinking. He was thinking of all possibilities. If it was a very, very heaven-defying defensive martial skill, a divine level martial skill might be able to do it. Lin Xian sat up, and Duan Lingxiao also sat up. Then the two of them walked out. Duan Lingxiao tried his best to appear magnanimous, even though he was feeling extremely uncomfortable right now. Then, Duan Lingxiao walked towards Lin Xian and stretched out his hand towards Lin Xian. The power you displayed at the end was something I didn't expect. Although I still have many things I didn't remember to use, a loss is a loss. Duan Lingxiao's words let everyone know that he hadn't used his full strength. His loss wasn't considered a loss. However, I really want to know how you were able to use your domain realm strength to block my heavenly venerable realm divine level martial skill in the end. In my knowledge, this is impossible. If you blocked other powers of a heavenly venerable realm martial artist, it would be reasonable. However, you blocked a divine level martial skill. This divine level martial skill can even cause a domain realm martial artist to heavily injure a heavenly venerable realm martial artist. Yet when a heavenly venerable realm martial artist, released it, you, a domain realm martial artist, remained unharmed. I really want to know why. This was also the point that everyone else couldn't understand. That's right, Duan Lingxiao was right. A divine level martial skill was the power of a domain realm martial artist that could surpass realms to defeat a heavenly venerable realm martial artist. Yet, when a heavenly venerable realm martial artist released this power, he still couldn't defeat a domain realm martial artist. Why? Who the *CK could they find to reason with? Chapter 1206. Lin Xian smiled. It's just a defensive martial skill. Ha ha ha, it's just a defensive martial skill. Young Master Lin, you're too humble. Such a defensive martial skill has to be at least at the divine rank, right? I've never seen a divine rank defensive martial skill before. Duan Lingxiao said. That's right. Defensive martial skills were indeed rare, because they were just like movement techniques. They were very difficult to create. Lin Xian shrugged. However, I didn't lose unjustly. Although I didn't expect a divine rank defensive martial skill, a loss is a loss. If there's a chance in the future, I'll teach you a lesson. Duan Lingxiao said casually. He tried his best to appear calm, frank, and unconcerned in front of everyone so that others would think that he could afford to lose. In fact, he was feeling very uncomfortable, extremely resentful. He was a proud son of heaven, a heavenly venerable. In everyone's eyes, he was the top. He had already decided to take first place in this martial arts competition. However, he lost. Losing was not important. What was important was that he lost to Lin Xian, who was still at the domain realm. Although he knew that in the eyes of most people, he had lost unjustly and did not seem to have fought seriously. If he had fought seriously, Lin Xian would have been killed in an instant. However, he had still lost. Hua! In the next instant, crazy screams and applause sounded in the arena again. Not bad. Let's not talk about how he won first. It's amazing that he won, regardless of the reason. The people from the three major forces nodded in satisfaction. However, they more or less knew who this Lin Xian was because the three major forces had invited Lin Xian before. Although they wanted to invite Lin Xian, they could only think about it. However, they could give it a try when the time came. There would be no divine physique in the battle there. Lin Xian, do you want to fight now? How's your condition? Luo Xiao asked Lin Xian. Lin Xian nodded. No problem. Good. Then Luo Xiao looked at Morongyu and said, You two get ready to fight. Morongyu walked towards the stage under everyone's gaze. If the previous Lin Xian in everyone's eyes was a fake, then no one could say that he wasn't strong now. If he could defeat an Empyrean, then no matter what kind of power he used, he had defeated an Empyrean. He was strong. Morongyu and Lin Xian had fought countless times. To be honest, it didn't matter if they fought or not. However, Morongyu's fighting spirit had been aroused by Lin Xian. Seeing that Lin Xian could even defeat a Sky Venerable, she especially wanted to compare notes with Lin Xian. However, it was also very awkward. They might have some things that they needed to hide, so they couldn't use their full strength in this battle. It would be completely meaningless if they fought. Thus, Morongyu didn't really want to fight. She might as well find a chance to fight seriously with Lin Xian somewhere without any outsiders. She could use all her strength, her law of destruction, her 1,000 sealing ice pupils, and so on. That would be awesome. Then the two of them looked at each other and lay down in the simulation pod. With a flash of light, the two of them arrived at a new map. This map, a snowy ground. That's right, they were in a snowy ground again. Seeing this snowy ground, everyone thought of the previous battle between Lin Xian and Zhuge Feng. Could it be, whoosh, Lin Xian jumped and dove into the snow again. Everyone. Wow! This Lin Xian is too much of a dog. Why do I want to King beat him up? No, he's obviously strong, so why does he have to be like a dog? But to be honest, Morongyu is very strong. Lin Xian's previous victories were all due to the element of surprise, and Morongyu watched all the battles. She shouldn't be weaker than Lin Xian, and the two of them have time and space. To Lin Xian, winning or losing this battle didn't matter. Morongyu was one of his own, and they had fought too many times. If they fought like this, Lin Xian felt that he wouldn't be able to beat her. If he really couldn't beat her, then he didn't need to say anything. He didn't even need to use his martial arts skills. If they were to compete purely in terms of combat ability, Lin Xian wouldn't be able to beat her. This woman was a monster. She was really a monster. And the only time Lin Xian was sure that he would win every battle was when they had sex. That would definitely be when Morongyu begged for mercy. This was for sure. She would beg for mercy every time they had sex. This Morongyu was really weak when it came to sex. For example, other girls would be able to last for about half an hour, and even longer when they were done. For example, Morongyu, she would have to beg for mercy after 15 minutes. Lin Xian really didn't understand. This might be a problem with her physique. Then Lin Xian would feel very uncomfortable every time. It was the kind where he would have to stop halfway and rest. When Morongyu was done, Lin Xian would start again, and then stop halfway. Thinking of this, Lin Xian felt miserable and tormented. However, it was also because of this that Morongyu had gradually learned to use his hands, and so on Lin Xian hid there, waiting for Morongyu to come closer. Anyway, it didn't matter if she succeeded or not, whether she got first or second place, Lin Xian didn't care. He didn't care about his own people. Lin Xian treated this battle as entertainment. This was King different from what others had expected. Shouldn't this battle be more exciting than the last? Instead, the final battle turned out to be like this. Dog's hit. Morongyu had watched every single battle of Lin Xian's, especially this snowy ground. She directly used her spatial attribute to jump to the highest point, and then scan Lin Xian's position. She didn't see him. This Lin Xian couldn't have burrowed into the ground again, right? Morongyu was really helpless. What a dog. Why are we still comparing points? Can't you just come out and fight? If you need to lose, you need to win. You need to win. However, Morongyu's delicate body then exploded with a terrifying power. You don't want to come out, right? Then she jumped to a flat ground and released her power. The terrifying ice attribute power spread for a few kilometers. In an instant, The surroundings were completely frozen. The snow in the air turned into ice crystals and fell to the ground. The snow under Lin Xian's feet turned into ice as well. Lin Xian's entire being was sealed in ice, as the terrifying cold force attacked him. One had to know that this wasn't a simple ice sealing a person. It was a martial skill. Although it didn't directly affect Lin Xian's body, the effect wasn't bad at all. Seeing this scene, everyone couldn't help but laugh. Dog's hit. He was still like this when facing an ice attribute warrior? Bang! Lin Xian broke through the ice and rushed out. Morongyu saw Lin Xian, and then rushed over without hesitation. The two then began to fight. No one knew if it was because of telepathy, but the two of them didn't use any martial skills. They only used their swords to crazily clash, cross, and compete with their sword moves. Everyone was dazzled as they watched their battle. Chapter 1207. 10 minutes, 20 minutes. That's right, they fought for 20 minutes. In these 20 minutes, everyone was watching seriously. There were no martial arts techniques involved. It was purely a competition of individual ability, reaction time, experience, and swordsmanship. They realized that these two people were very strong. Lin Xian's strength was not only due to his one special ability after another. His individual ability was really enough. At least, many of the geniuses here felt that if they were to compete with him purely in swordsmanship, it would not be easy to win. Sister, let's stop fighting. It hurts. Lin Xian and Morongyu kept fighting, and then said with a sad face. Although this was a battle between consciousnesses, the injuries suffered would still be transmitted to the cerebral cortex, sending a signal to the contestants that their bodies were in pain. Lin Xian and Morongyu were both injured, so it was really painful. Morongyu put away her sword. All right. Indeed, it seemed that there was no need to keep fighting. They had fought too many times, and now it really hurt. Then I admit defeat. Morongyu then said. No. I admit defeat. Lin Xian grinned. It doesn't matter. Then how about rock, paper, scissors? Lin Xian asked. Okay. Then the two of them played rock, paper, scissors. Lin Xian won. I admit defeat. Morongyu then said lightly. Everyone. Wow. This, they had never seen such a sloppy battle in their lives. You guys used rock, paper, scissors to decide? The school was also very helpless. However, they were very satisfied. Morongyu's strength was well known. As long as she advanced to the celestial venerable realm, she would be invincible. Lin Xian had also successfully joined Morongyu, the top echelon of the entire martial arts academy. If he advanced to the celestial venerable realm, it would be a qualitative leap. Two top-notch martial artists who coexisted in time and space. As their realms got higher, their strength would become more and more exaggerated. Then the two of them left. Lin Xian opened his eyes and immediately felt comfortable. He had to admit that the simulation pod was amazing. It was just his consciousness, but it made him feel pain all over his body. It was too real. The vice president of the Martial Arts Academy waved his hand, and several badges fell into the hands of Lin Xian, Morongyu, and the others. This time, the ranking will be carried out directly. The 108 peaks in the inner courtyard will change according to your rankings. Lin Xian is the first peak, Morongyu is the second peak, and Duan Lingxiao is the third peak. Of course, you can still continue to challenge. The remaining top 179 students will be left behind. You can continue to fight and carry out the ranking of the 108 peaks. Lin Xian and Morongyu then walked down. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed as he stared at Lin Xian. It wasn't that he couldn't afford to lose, but that he, a heavenly venerable, had lost to a domain realm cultivator. These were two completely different concepts. Most importantly, in everyone's opinion, including Duan Lingxiao, he had already obtained the first place. Yet now, perhaps it was time for him to do something. Lin Xian and Morongyu sat together and watched the others compete. Ling Ying, Han Chuxue, and the others would continue to compete and carry out the ranking. Xiao Runing glanced at Lin Xian. This kid was getting more and more powerful. She vaguely remembered what he was like not long ago. What level had he reached in this short period of time? What about her? If Xiao Runing was able to properly improve herself, she estimated that she would also be an Empyrean, or perhaps even close to an Empyrean. However, she had spent too much time and energy on teaching. She liked this kind of life. She felt that it was very good. Just that, what she was most conflicted about was not her strength, but her relationship with Lin Xian. Although Lin Xian had never made it clear, she wasn't stupid. She knew in her heart that this bastard probably had many women around him. Those girls who surrounded him every day. Even Ling Ying, Han Chuxue, and Xiao Runing all felt that they had already been touched by this bastard's evil claws. However, she clearly knew this in her heart. Why was she unwilling to leave? So annoying. She wasn't Lin Xian's girlfriend, one of his. Why was she willing to have sex with Lin Xian? Wasn't this just sex? Heavens! She Xiao Runing actually. Lin Xian, Lin Xian, Lin Xian. Lan Xingxing ran excitedly to the military class. Then he happily sat beside Lin Xian. Then he hugged Lin Xian's arm and swung it back and forth. Lin Xian, you're so amazing. Lan Xingxing smiled foolishly. If you have something to say, say it. Lin Xian rolled his eyes. That. Lin Xian, you've already gotten first place in the martial arts academy. Shouldn't we have a good celebration? Of course, right, big sister Morong? Morong you. Okay. If you want to eat, just say it. Let's go, I'll go cook. I'll probably be done by the time they're done. Then Lin Xian called out to Xiao Runing. Miss Xiao, come eat with us later, Lin Xian said. I'm not going. Xiao Runing said unhappily. Su Jiming secretly clenched his fists. Why was this Lin Xian so outstanding? No. He felt that this Lin Xian was not outstanding at all. However, he was always able to make some unexpected moves. This was the most important thing. Moreover, the girls were always by his side. It was like the protagonist in a novel. He had the protagonist's aura. That's right. This was the feeling. At night, everyone gathered again. It was still Morong Yu and the others' dormitory. Today, Wu Yuhan was that cold girl again. Lin Xian had a headache. Now that all the girls' missions were up, they had been using their male idols to extend their time. It was time to take them down. Who should he take down? Luo Chenxi should be easy. Then, Xiao Xinyue, Anxin, should have a chance at the Golden Melody Awards that were about to begin. Zi Qiyue was a little difficult. Morong Yu should not have too much trouble either. They lacked an opportunity. Wu Yuhan was a little difficult. As for Lan Xingxing, Lin Xian felt that it should not be too much of a problem to deceive her. However, this girl was naive. Lin Xian was afraid that something would happen if he took her down. That's right. It just so happened that the Golden Melody Awards were about to begin. Lin Xian planned to help Anxin make another push during this short period of time. It was very difficult to win 10 Golden Melody Awards in one go, but Lin Xian felt that it was possible. After dinner in the evening, Lin Xian drove back to Linen City. As the Martial Arts Academy had nothing to do for the time being, the Martial Arts Academy should have all kinds of extremely difficult missions. Lin Xian was also very much looking forward to it. It was already past 10 o'clock at night when he returned to Linen City. Lin Xian did not go to Ling Longshue's place. He would do it tomorrow. He wanted to accompany Linya tonight, and, damn it! No. He had to take down this little fairy tonight. When he returned home, the lights in the house were dark. Lin Xian thought that Linya was asleep, but there was no one in the room. She did not answer his calls. He asked Morong Qing and the others, but they did not have any news about Linya. Lin Xian frowned suddenly. He could not help but panic. Chapter 1208. It was impossible for Linya to not answer the phone. Even if she was asleep, she would wake up as soon as the phone rang. But she was not answering the phone, not at home, and not with anyone else. Lin Xian frowned and called Morong Qing again. Did something happen? Morong Qing, of course, guessed something and asked with a frown. My sister is missing. Missing? Lin Xian nodded and sat on the sofa, lighting a cigarette, and asked, Did she go to work today? Yes. She went back with me at 6 o'clock in the evening. After dinner, it should be around 8 o'clock when she got home. Lin Xian looked at the time. It was 10:20, which meant that something must have happened between 8 and 10:20. Lin Xian looked around the house carefully. It was very clean, and there were no signs of damage. There were also no signs of fighting. Could it be that something happened to Linya on the way home? There was no message, which meant that she was instantly controlled. This was normal, she was not strong. But it was a little strange. She had the spatial heavenly jewel that Ling Longshui gave her. This kind of jewel was very powerful. Even if she was in a dangerous environment, or even in some enchantments, this powerful jewel could directly ignore the enchantments and teleport Linya to Ling Longshui. This was why Lin Xian was relatively relieved to leave Linya. Now more than 2 hours had passed and she was not back. Lin Xian also asked Ling Longshui, but she was not home. Don't worry, I've asked someone to check for you. Linya's route home is very fixed. There are cameras on the road, and there are also cameras in the neighborhood. Coincidentally, there is a camera in your neighborhood that is facing your floor. I'll see if I can find anything. Morongqing said to Lin Xian. Please. Lin Xian sat on the sofa and smoked. About 5 minutes later, Morongqing said, You should come to my place to take a look. Okay. Lin Xian released the space attribute and instantly arrived near Morongqing's rose heaven, then quickly went upstairs. In the room, Morongqing was watching a video on a screen. Look, this is 8:20, the only suspicious person in your building. Lin Xian's eyes were on the screen. Why was it suspicious? It was very simple. There was an elevator card in this neighborhood, and at the same time there were stairs. However, the door on the other side of the stairs was often closed and could be opened. However, even if people lived on the second floor, they could go up by swiping the elevator card. No one would use the stairs. If they didn't swipe the elevator card, they couldn't use the elevator. The suspicious point was, the figure walked straight into the first floor without any hesitation and walked into the staircase. She did not have an elevator card. She didn't even hesitate to walk into the stairway. Is there a video? Lin asked. No. Zoom in. When Lin Xian saw that woman, he had a nagging feeling that something was wrong. The video zoomed in, and although it was blurry but, Zhao Mengyue. Lin Xian secretly clenched his fists. You know her? I know. Lin Xian lowered his head and lit another cigarette. Although it was blurry, Lin Xian could see that it was her. Then it was easy to explain. She was the one who did it. She represented the Evil Fiend Temple, which meant that the Evil Fiend Temple had attacked Linya. The reason why they attacked Linya was because they wanted to threaten him, Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian could not understand. Why did Linya not come back with the space jewel? Could it be that she had fainted? Yes, that should be the reason. She had not woken up yet. But whether she woke up or not, Lin Xian had to do something. It's the Evil Fiend Temple, Lin Xian said. Evil Fiend Temple? Morongqing's slender fingers tapped on the table rhythmically. That's difficult. The Evil Fiend Temple has always been a headache for the three great forces. It's not that the Evil Fiend Temple is invulnerable, but that the Evil Fiend Temple hides too perfectly. All these years, we have only dealt with a few members of the Evil Fiend Temple, and some small strongholds of the Evil Fiend Temple. But even some small strongholds of the Evil Fiend Temple are very difficult to find. It wasn't that they couldn't beat them. The Evil Fiend Temple could be easily destroyed. No matter how many experts they had, they couldn't compare to the three great forces. Can't you find the stronghold of the Evil Fiend Temple in Linen City? Lin Xian asked. All these years, the three great forces have spent a lot of effort on the Evil Fiend Temple, but the results are very small. Their forces are very difficult to find. There are no clues in Linen City either. The most important thing is that the members of the Evil Fiend Temple are given a special poison. When they have the thought of telling others about the secret of the Evil Fiend Temple, the poison will explode, instantly causing their internal organs to stop working. It's also for this reason that even if we find the members of the Evil Fiend Temple, we won't be able to get any information from them. Lin Xian frowned. What can we do? Although he knew that Linya had the spatial heavenly jewel, he was still worried. The most difficult part was that he couldn't find any clues at all. I'll ask the temple to increase the search in Linen City, But you have to be prepared to return empty-handed. Morongqing was not stupid. She knew that Linya was of no use to the evil fiend temple. She knew that taking away Linya should be to threaten Lin Xian. And at least for a short period of time, Linya would definitely be fine. Alright, then I'll leave it to you. It's fine. Don't be too impulsive. Calm down. Lin Xian nodded his head. I'm very calm. I'll go find someone else to see if there's any way. After Lin Xian finished speaking, he left. Morongqing also quickly took action, while Lin Xian went to Ling Longshue's place. What's going on? Ling Longshue knew that Linya was missing, so she was naturally very concerned. However, she didn't know anything about the situation. My sister should have been taken away by the people of the evil fiend temple. Lin Xian looked at Xiao Shishir on the sofa, then looked at Ling Longshue and said, Evil fiend temple? They naturally knew about the existence of the evil fiend temple. To them, the evil fiend temple was nothing. Can't find it? Lin Xian nodded. The location of the evil fiend temple can't be found. She has the spatial heavenly jewel I gave her, so there might not be any problems. Don't worry. Ling Longshue comforted. Lin Xian nodded. I know. I'm just afraid that something unexpected will happen. Lin Xian sat on the sofa, took out a cigarette, and glanced at Xiao Shishir. Lin Xian silently placed it on the coffee table. Why is it so difficult to find a force? Bing Lingyue asked with a frown. I don't understand either, but it's been like this for many years. The most important thing is that once their members reveal any secrets about the evil fiend temple, they will die, so, Lin Xian sighed. Chapter 1209. On the surface, Lin Xian looked like he was just worried. However, he was far more worried than that. Linya was too special to him. Nothing could happen to her. However, Lin Xian couldn't appear too anxious. Let's wait. Ling Longshue said softly. That's all we can do. Lin Xian leaned back on the sofa. After about 2 hours, Lin Xian stood up. He couldn't wait any longer. He really couldn't wait any longer. In the past 2 hours, they hadn't spoken much to each other. Lin Xian felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. He would rather run outside than sit here. Why? It had been 5 hours. Even if Linya hadn't woken up, the evil fiend temple should have contacted him by now, right? Why hadn't there been any news? Ling Longshue looked at Lin Xian with concern. The concern in her beautiful eyes couldn't be concealed. I'll go out for a walk and see if I can find any clues. I'll go with you. Ling Longshue said. You two go ahead. Little Shishir, you and I will watch over her at home. Bing Lingyue said. Then Lin Xian and Ling Longshue walked out. Don't worry too much. They're probably trying to threaten you. Your sister will be fine, Ling Longshue said. I know, but I just can't see her. I can't get any news about her. My heart is in a mess. Lin Xian scratched his head. Ling Longshue kept thinking. She was thinking about how she could help Lin Xian find Linya. Then she realized that even though she had a lot of skills, she couldn't help at this time. Right. Ling Longshue's beautiful eyes suddenly lit up. Lin Xian quickly looked at Ling Longshue. I'll bring you to a place. In the next instant, she grabbed Lin Xian's hand and the two of them disappeared. When they reappeared, Lin Xian didn't know where he had gone. However, he and Ling Longshue were in the void, speeding forward at an extremely fast speed. Where to? Lin Xian hurriedly took out the signal receiver that Miao Xiao Miao had invented. This place was clearly very far away from the human race. With this signal receiver, he would be able to receive signals. He wouldn't have to worry about not being able to receive news when the evil fiend Hall contacted him. Ling Longshue said, Do you still remember the incident with the 4 parchment scrolls? Lin Xian nodded. There were a total of 4 parchment scrolls. Ling Longshue had already obtained 2 of them. Lin Xian had inadvertently obtained the other one at the auction. He heard that she had asked a senior of the Yao clan to help her divine the location of the last one. That senior has a very strong divination technique. Although I don't know if I can succeed if I trouble her again, I still have to give it a try. If she is willing to help, I can easily deduce the location of the evil fiend palace, including your sister's location. Ling Longshue said. Lin Xian's eyes suddenly lit up. Xiao Linglong, thank you. Lin Xian said gently. It's my duty. I'm just not sure if that senior is willing to help. Let's go take a look. No matter what she wants, as long as I can give it to her, it doesn't matter. Following that, their figures began flashing once again. Linglong Shui had made more than 10 spatial jumps. She was at the Heavenly Dao realm, a void fox, and the continent's strongest spatial powers. Yet, she had not arrived even after more than 10 spatial jumps. It was obvious how far that place was. Thankfully, Linglong Shui had advanced to the Heavenly Dao realm. If not for that, she would have needed at least 7 days to reach that place when she was at the Great Void realm. In fact, she had indeed spent that much time. As for the Heavenly Dao realm, she only needed a few hours. This was the difference between the Great Void realm and the Heavenly Dao realm. It could not be any greater. Shua. The next instant the two landed on the ground. Linglong Shui's figure staggered as Lin Xian hurriedly supported her. Xiao Linglong, are you alright? Lin Xian was alarmed. Linglong Shui stabilized herself and shook her head. I'm fine. I just lost some of my spiritual energies. Then she consumed a pill and sat cross-legged on the spot. Give me some time. I need to recover my spiritual energies. Lin Xian looked at the woman gratefully. She had wanted to kill him in the past, but now, she had given birth to a cute little princess for him. She had been supporting him silently and caring for him. It's fine. Rest a little more. There's really no rush, said Lin Xian. Then he released his creation law to help her recover her spiritual energies. From the looks of it, Lin Xian was at the 6-star Grand Domain realm. His creation law should be quite powerful, but his spiritual energies were almost depleted. He probably couldn't even restore 1,000th of Linglong Shui's spiritual energies. After a while, Linglong Shui opened her beautiful eyes. It's done. Don't force yourself. There's really no need to be in such a hurry. This can't be rushed. Linglong Shui said. It's fine. In the next instant, she and Lin Xian disappeared from where they stood. After repeating this a dozen times, about 3 hours later, they finally reached their destination. Linglong Shui was at the Heavenly Dao realm. The fact that she used the Void Fox's spatial jump and rested for 3 hours was enough to show how far away this place was. This senior is of the Qilin lineage. She values fate more than anything else. She and I are fated. But the last time I invited her to Zhangyan, I used up all my opportunities. Therefore, whether she can help you this time depends more on whether you are fated to meet her or not. Linglong Shui said to Lin Xian. Lin Xian nodded. I understand. Qilin lineage. When he thought of the Qilin Lin Xian, he thought of Shui Qilin. He hasn't seen her since the fall of Tianhua City. He hasn't even heard any news or traces of her. There is a mountain ahead, surrounded by green mountains and clear waters, lakes and waterfalls. This place is really a paradise on earth. Lin Xian even feels that if he doesn't have any fetters one day, he can bring his sister here to set up a net, fish, and the like. It should be very comfortable. When he gets tired of playing, he can go to the city to play. The mountain in front of them was very tall and very big. It was now nighttime. When they looked up, they could see a lot of clouds and mist shrouding the mountain. There is a staircase leading to the huge mountain ahead. It is very tall. Lin Xian took a step forward, and a barrier blocked him. Linglong Shui then cupped her hands and said, Senior, Linglong Shui requests an audience. Then the barrier disappeared. Do you want to climb up bit by bit? Lin Xian asked. Linglong Shui nodded. Let's climb up. Come to think of it, in such a place, in the face of a senior of this level, if you don't climb up, you might be disrespectful to him. Then the two walked up. Chapter 12:10. It was very, very tall. However, it wouldn't be too slow to climb up if he moved a little faster. What astonished Lin Xian the most was that as this seemingly ordinary mountain got higher and higher, he could feel an increasingly terrifying amount of heaven and earth spirit qi. Furthermore, there was something that Lin Xian didn't know about that was drilling into his brain. Lin Xian sensed it carefully and discovered that it seemed to be some kind of consciousness. Ling Longshui glanced at Lin Xian, then said, "This mountain carries many special powers of the continent for thousands of years. Over the years, many experts have come here on the verge of death and sealed their wills here. You can simply understand that this mountain is surrounded by the ruins of countless experts. Therefore, you can feel the echoes of their wills. That's because they sensed your aura and hoped that you could inherit their wills." Lin Xian touched the tip of his nose, but still quickened his pace. He didn't care about wills at all. He only cared about Linya. "I understand." Lin Xian nodded. Soon, they arrived at the peak of the mountain. It was very strange. Normally, such a high peak would be covered in snow, but it wasn't here. The huge peak was filled with birds and fragrant flowers. If it weren't for the night, it would be even more beautiful. "Senior, Ling Longshui wishes to see you. I hope you can answer my doubts." Patter. The door of a large hall opened. "Let him in." An ethereal voice of a woman who didn't seem to be very old came out. Her voice was ethereal and ethereal. Ling Longshui's beautiful eyes lit up. Then she hurriedly glanced at Lin Xian. Lin Xian cupped his fists. "Thank you, senior." Then Lin Xian walked in. There was nothing special about this hall. It was just a large hall with simple tables and chairs. The rest was empty space. Lin Xian didn't see anyone. "Senior, this junior has come here because I hope you can help me with something." Lin Xian cupped his fist and said to the air, "Lin Xian, have you met Xue Qilin before?" The ethereal voice entered Lin Xian's ears. Lin Xian hurriedly said, "Yes, this junior met her a long time ago. She changed this junior's life, so this junior is very grateful to her. But I haven't been able to meet her since. Senior, do you know where Xue Qilin is?" As expected. The voice pondered for a moment. Xue Qilin's 7-colored sacred Qilin is expected to have full attributes. Lin Xian didn't understand what she meant. He had heard from Ling Longshui that she was also from the Qilin clan, and the first thing she asked when he came over was, "Nothing, I'm just asking." Lin Xian hurriedly said, "Senior, this junior is here for?" "I know. You don't have to worry about this." Lin Xian frowned. This junior doesn't understand what senior means. If it's a blessing, it's not a disaster. If it's a disaster, it can't be avoided. For her, this is a good fortune. There are relic sites of powerhouses below that will be helpful to you. Go and inherit one. With that, the voice disappeared, and then the closed temple gate opened again, indicating for Lin Xian to leave. Lin Xian scratched his head. "Thank you, senior." With that, Lin Xian went out. "How was it? What did senior say?" Ling Longshui saw Lin Xian come out and asked quickly. Lin Xian lowered his head and said while thinking, "Senior told me not to worry about it." "Not to worry about it?" Ling Longshui pondered slightly. "Senior means that your sister won't be in danger." Lin Xian nodded. "That's what I meant. He also said that this may be a good fortune for my sister." "Then don't worry. Since senior said so, you don't have to worry." Lin Xian nodded. If he said he didn't have to worry, then he really didn't have to worry. After all, even Ling Longshui believed in a powerhouse of this level. What reason did Lin Xian have to not believe in him? As for worry, how should he put it? Not being able to see Linya with his own eyes, and not knowing any news about her, Lin Xian was always worried. She would have a good fortune in the Evil Fiend Temple? Even thinking about it, it seemed a little impossible. However, that senior had already said so. "Don't worry, nothing will happen," Ling Longshui said. Lin Xian nodded. If Linya came back with a different attitude after being separated from her for a while, Lin Xian felt that it was quite good. He just needed to make sure that nothing happened to her. Obviously, Linya's good fortune was related to her strength. Lin Xian had always wanted Linya to improve her strength, but the Yixian group appeared. Linya hoped to be able to do everything for Lin Xian, so she stayed in the Yixian group. Now, since the senior said that nothing would happen, then perhaps it really was a good thing. Although Lin Xian was worried and didn't even know when they would be able to meet, Lin Xian felt that it shouldn't be too long. As long as nothing happened, that was the prerequisite for everything. Lin Xian took a deep breath. "Let's go back," Ling Longshui said. This senior's words could definitely be trusted. regarding some very, very special matters she couldn't calculate, such as the Void Fox clan and behind the Void Gate. These matters were too difficult to calculate, because these matters might, in a sense, be beyond the scope of the Way of Heaven's ability. Senior said to let me go down to receive the inheritance of a certain expert, Lin Xian said. Ling Longshui nodded. It's a good thing, then let's go down. Lin Xian nodded. Then the two of them walked down. Lin Xian felt that this trip was really enough. He just needed to know that Linya was fine. As for whether it was good fortune or not, perhaps it wasn't important to Lin Xian. Xiao Linglong, what do you think my sister can get in a place like the Evil Fiend Temple? Lin Xian asked doubtfully. Linglong Shui said. At first, I thought that their target was actually you, and they used your sister to threaten you. But now it seems that you haven't received any news for so long. Their target is very likely your sister. Her physique is very special and very powerful. It's really a pity that she doesn't cultivate. I guess the Evil Fiend Temple has also taken a fancy to your sister's potential. Perhaps they will nurture your sister. Lin Xian pondered for a moment. So this is good fortune? No, there must be a reason that we don't know. Sigh. As they walked down, Lin Xian sighed. What's wrong? Why are you sighing when you know that your sister is fine? Senior must know your sister's location and didn't ask you to look for her, which means that in her eyes, your sister should stay in the Evil Fiend Temple. Linglong Shui said. Lin Xian nodded. I know, but a place like the Evil Fiend Temple. Lin Xian knew what kind of person Linya was. In the Evil Fiend Temple. Chapter 12:11. The Evil Fiend Temple was a group of people who killed people to improve their cultivation. Although they did not necessarily need to do so. After all, it was more reliable to kill monsters to improve their cultivation. Moreover, there were more opportunities, but they would not let go of an opportunity to kill people. Therefore, Lin Xian was worried that Linya might be in the Evil Fiend Temple. But what happened to the spatial heavenly jewel? Why didn't my sister use it? Lin Xian sighed and said. There's a high chance that she didn't have time to use it, and was discovered. Phew, forget it, as long as Senior says that my sister is fine. On the other side, in a certain room, Linya opened her eyes and looked at everything around her in confusion. Then she quickly sat up. You're awake. Zhao Mingyue leaned to the side and shook the bracelet made of the spatial heavenly jewel that was originally on Linya's wrist. Who are you? Linya frowned and retreated a few steps. Zhao Mingyue's appearance had changed a little compared to before. One had to know that this woman was a blind date that Linya had introduced to Lin Xian. She had naturally seen the photo before, but now she couldn't recognize her. She was also invincible. Who I am? That's not important. However, I'm still very grateful to Sister Linya, Zhao Mingyue said with a smile. Why? Linya asked. Because, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have come into contact with Lin Xian. If I didn't come into contact with Lin Xian, I wouldn't have reached such a high realm. This is something that I never thought of. So Sister Linya, you can be considered to have changed my life. Linya frowned. Why did you bring me here? Where's Lin Xian? Linya asked. Lin Xian? He's living well. As for why I brought you here, of course, it's because I've taken a fancy to Sister Linya's potential. It's such a pity that such a powerful person is willing to be an ordinary person in the city. Therefore, I followed the orders of the heavens and brought you here. I'll let you become an extraordinary existence, so that you won't be mediocre for the rest of your life. I'll let you walk on the path of martial arts. Linya shook her head. I don't want to. I just want to run the Art Xian group well. Send me back. Zhao Yingming smiled and shook her head. Sister Linya, you can't do that. In order to bring you here, I've observed you for a long time and spent a lot of effort. In the future, the two of us will be comrades who fight side by side. As she spoke, she took out a pill and pinched Linya's chin, forcing Linya to swallow the pill. Cough, cough, cough. Linya kept coughing, but she had already swallowed the pill. Let me tell you a piece of unfortunate news. This pill is called the heart-burying pill. The effect is very simple. As long as you don't listen to me, I can make Sister Linya die anytime and anywhere. Moreover, Lin Xian has already been tricked by me to eat the heart-burying pill. He doesn't even know it himself. With this heart-burying pill, if one party dies, the other party will also die. Therefore, Sister Linya, if you want Lin Xian to live, you have to be obedient. Linya gritted her teeth and glared at her. Zhao Yingming was still smart. She knew that Linya might die rather than help her. However, she always had only one weakness, and that was Lin Xian. As long as she could threaten Lin Xian's safety, she would definitely be obedient. As for whether Lin Xian had eaten the heart-burying pill or not, it was obvious that he hadn't. She was just lying to Linya. Come on, you have to be obedient. If you're obedient, we'll be good friends. If you're not obedient, the consequences will be very serious. Zhao Yingming finished speaking and walked out. Linya slowly got off the bed. She bit her lips and followed her. When the door opened, the scene in front of her shocked Linya. When she was in the room, she thought that this might be a residential area in Lin City. However, when she came out, she realized this wasn't the human world at all. This was a cave that was so big that she couldn't imagine it. It might even be underground. No, she wasn't sure because the surroundings were filled with cold air. The surrounding walls and ground were all sealed by ice and snow. Where was this? Big Sister Linya, don't be surprised. This is the place where a demon god was sealed in ancient times. This demon god is called the Heavenly Ice Witch. She has an extremely terrifying ice attribute power. With your physique, you can completely absorb and fuse with her power. This way, you'll soar into the sky. Zhao Yingming said with a smile. Why are you doing this? Why? Because you can only help me if you become stronger. Help you with what? Help me take the position of the evil fiend temple master. Zhao Yingming's eyes flickered with boundless ambition. Help me rule the human race. Linya. Yes, she did this for this. She accidentally found this place, and found the Heavenly Ice Witch. Therefore, she started to have ideas about Linya, because she was the most suitable person to inherit her power. Therefore, when Linya became stronger, she would be an extremely powerful helper. Her main goal now was to become stronger, and then take the evil fiend temple for herself. Now, she had already accomplished a lot because the evil fiend temple in Lin City was already hers. She had not shown up for so long because she was doing something big. She had seduced almost all the core members of the evil fiend temple in Lin City. 95% of the evil fiend temple were men. After having sex with her, they all became Zhao Yingming's puppets. Even if they were in the heavenly venerable realm, even if there was one in the absolute void realm, they were all controlled by the evil technique she had obtained. At the same time, she controlled them to kill the temple master here. The evil fiend temple here was already hers. Moreover, she had killed many experts. Her realm was not slow at all. What she lacked now was top-notch elite helpers one after another. Linya was one of them. Moreover, she had also found a treasure. The 12 demon god sealing diagrams from the ancient times were found here. There was a human corpse here, and this diagram was beside the corpse. It was probably killed by her when she sealed the Heavenly Ice Witch. This diagram had a use. When the time came, she would be able to obtain the help of the ancient 12 demon gods. Although they were not at their peak, and only humans were absorbing their power and obtaining their power, it was enough. This was because the ancient 12 demon gods possessed 12 terrifying powers, and they were extremely strong. It was definitely not something that the human warriors of the so-called time and space could compare to. Zhao Yingming brought Linya to the front. Linya looked at a white-haired woman trapped in ice. Very beautiful. She was very beautiful. Then, let's begin. Then the corner of Zhao Yingming's mouth curled up. She grabbed Linya's right hand and suddenly smashed it against the ice wall. The moment she smashed it, her hand was dripping with blood. In the next moment, Linya's arm penetrated through the ice wall and directly pierced through the woman's heart. Chapter 12:12. A terrifying power surged into Linya's body. At the same time, Zhao Mingyue quickly retreated and pulled away. Linya kept trying to pull her hand out, but she couldn't do it. Blood crawled up her arm. In the next moment, the Heavenly Ice Witch raised her head and opened her eyes. They emitted a blood-red light. When Zhao Mingyue saw this scene, she subconsciously took a few steps back. If you can't withstand it, you'll die. I hope you can. Otherwise, I won't be able to find a second person qualified to inherit the heavenly ice witch's power. Zhao Mingyue's lips curled up. Ah! In the next moment, Linya let out a very mournful scream. She was in extreme pain. Should I take a picture and show Lin Xian how much pain his dear sister is in right now? Zhao Mingyue thought with a smile. However, she decided against it. If this Lin Xian saw this scene, who knew what he would do? She was actually quite afraid of this person. Linya's hair danced wildly in the wind, while his black hair slowly turned snow white from the roots. Soon, her hair turned snow white. On the other side, Lin Xian came to the mountain peak. Ling Longshui said, "There are many wills of top experts here. They all hoped that after they died, their wills could be inherited by a destined person in the future. This place can allow their wills to exist for a long time, unlike other places where they might dissipate after 100, 1,000, or even 10,000 years." So, there are wills left behind by people from 10,000 years ago? Lin Xian asked. Ling Longshui nodded. Yes. However, they need to approve of you before you can obtain them. Lin Xian nodded. When he was climbing the stairs, he already felt some power communicating with him. It was the same now. I feel many powers forming a connection with me, Lin Xian said. That means there are many seniors who want you to inherit their wills. However, you can only inherit one. This time, you have to choose yourself, Ling Longshui said. Of course I have to choose the most powerful one, Lin Xian said. Sometimes, the most powerful one isn't necessarily the right one. You have to meet the most suitable one, Ling Longshui said. Then she paused and continued. Follow the will of your heart. Let your heart make the choice. Your heart can find the most suitable person for you. Lin Xian nodded and closed his eyes. After closing his eyes, everything around him was pitch black. However, he seemed to realize that there were many white lights around him. Lin Xian could feel the feelings brought by each light, including what kind of person he was, what his will was, and so on. This was a fitting process. On the mountain peak, a woman in a blue dress and a veil walked slowly to the edge with her hands behind her back. She was very high, but she seemed to be able to see below. As expected, 9 out of 10 out of 3,000 experts hope that he will inherit their powers, while the other 10% feel that their powers are not worthy of him. Divine body, creation precepts all attribute. The Void Fox is his partner, and so is the Demon God. He is someone who has great luck. No wonder that girl gave the 9-colored sacred scale to him, and chose him to be the savior. At least for now, it seems that he is a possibility. The woman pondered. Then who will you choose? Lin Xian walked to a spot and stopped. He slowly opened his eyes. There was a sword, a rusty sword. As expected. The woman saw this and nodded slightly. He was the most suitable one because they were the same person. Then she turned and walked into the room. Ling Longshui also followed Lin Xian and looked at the sword. Do you choose him? Lin Xian nodded. I made the choice based on my feelings. Ling Longshui took a look. She didn't know what kind of power it was. I will protect you, Ling Longshui said. Okay. Lin Xian sat cross-legged in front of the sword and closed his eyes. Then his divine consciousness came to a beautiful place. He saw a man in a white robe dancing with a sword. His swordsmanship was elegant and smooth. This was the damn swordsmanship that Lin Xian liked. Unfortunately, his swordsmanship, or to be precise, there was no swordsmanship. So the will that this person gave him should be his swordsmanship. Whoosh, his figure walked in front of Lin Xian. Lin Xian couldn't see his face clearly. For some reason, he didn't wear a mask or anything to hide his appearance, but Lin Xian couldn't see his face clearly. However, he felt that he had a face. It was like when you dreamed of someone. You knew what they looked like, but when you woke up, you couldn't remember that face no matter how hard you tried. Come learn from me. And then, Lin Xian started to dance with the sword. Thank you, senior. Lin Xian didn't know how much time had passed. He felt very strange in his consciousness and space. Take care of the people around you. His figure dissipated at the same time. Lin Xian's body was surrounded by the talisman of heaven and earth, and a will. What a sharp sword will. Linglong Shui carefully sensed the person and couldn't help but praise. After the talisman of heaven and earth entered his body, Lin Xian's body erupted with a terrifying power. Then he suddenly opened his eyes. His realm soared directly to 10 stars of the domain realm. After rising by 4 stars, Lin Xian felt a little incredulous at the terrifying increase in power. Moreover, he felt that he had learned some swordsmanship. It was a swordsmanship that he was especially familiar with, but also unfamiliar at the same time. It felt very familiar and comfortable to dance with. At this moment, the sword in front of him blossomed with golden and white light. Then it slowly floated up. Lin Xian's gaze fell on it. He felt the terrifying power and extremely powerful spiritual energy of heaven and earth. At the same time, he felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity. Bang! In the next instant, power erupted. The rust on the surface of the sword fell off. And then a very beautiful, very new sword floated there. Holy weapon! Linglong Shui was slightly shocked when she sensed it. Holy weapons were extremely terrifying existences. She also had one, but she also knew how rare it was. Although Lin Xian couldn't activate the full power of this holy weapon, the sharpness of this sword definitely surpassed any divine weapon that Linglong Shui knew of. Lin Xian stretched out his hand, and the sword flew into his hand. The moment Lin Xian grasped it, his aura surged and the surrounding 100 meters of dust burst forth. Leaves flew into the air. What a wonderful feeling! Lin Xian's eyes lit up. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.